A very good afternoon to you and welcome to round 3 of the FA World Rallycross Championship's official esports series. We started, of course, in Abu Dhabi. We then went up to the Lonkabanen and Hell in Norway, and we're headed now to Hollius. Hollius is the Magic Weekend. It's an incredible circuit. It's a brilliant event. 30, 40,000 Scandinavians normally turn up in a forest and have quite a session, it has to be said, soon after midsummer. And then we have the most incredible rallycross event on an absolutely brilliant circuit. It's one of the drivers' favourites. It's certainly one of my favourites, and really looking forward to bringing you the esports version of that. And of course, hopefully, the FA World Rallycross Championship will be starting from there very soon as well. So COVID is slowly disappearing around the world. I know there are some areas where it's getting slightly worse, but in Europe here, the situation is improving for the most part, and so we're really looking forward to getting racing back underway, and we'll be heading to Hollius for rounds 1 and 2 of the FA World Rallycross Championship. But for today, it's the third round of the esports series, excuse me. My name's Andrew Coley. I normally commentate the World Rallycross Championship in real life. Been a pleasure to bring the esports side of things to you as well. And as always, I'm going to be joined by Neil Cole. So Neil, where are we? Should pop up. Oh, there he is. Pops up right on command. How you doing? All right?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Excited to get underway at Hollius.
Yeah, cracking circuit, isn't it? It's one of our favourites. It's going to be a strange one this year with no fans there for obvious reasons. But, you know, the esports side of things, the track is absolutely bang on, isn't it?
It's one of those dramatic, probably second only to Lydden Hill, let's say. It's one of the classic rallycross circuits from the 70s. It's got the banking, it's got 2 jumps. It's a really good even mix of proper gravel and proper tarmac. It's loads of overtaking potential, but both in the game and in real life, it's a very, very dramatic place to host some rallycross action.
It is a super committed track. It's very, very fast indeed. 6th gear down the back straight into a right-hander where you can take quite a lot of curb, more curb in the game than you can in real life. Seen a few wheels off there over the years. A massive jump then into the hairpin where we've seen that incredible move back in 2015, the infamous Hansen up the inside. Okay, it was 4 wheels off. He didn't get it in the end, but it's a cracking circuit. You know, last year we saw Timmy and Kevin Hansen go door to door from the Joker. That merged right through to the velodrome. So hopefully we're going to see some of that today in esports as well. We should take a look at the standings from the previous events. I say we've had 2 events. We've been to Abu Dhabi and to Norway, and I think we should have some driver standings for you where we can have a look and see just what the points are. Shane van Gisbergen leads after 2 brilliant performances. In fact, Shane has been on the podium in the 3 events he's done. So he did Abu Dhabi and Norway. He also did our invitational event in Portugal and got 3rd place there. So he's been on all 3 steps of the podium. He's right up at the top there after 2 rounds of the World RX Esports Series with Timmy Hansen, the real-life World Rallycross champion, right behind him, yet to take a victory. Tom Blomqvist in 3rd place, of course, winner last time out in Hell in Norway. Henrik Krogstad for Yellow Squad, a real-life RX2 driver right up there ahead, in fact, of his team manager, Kevin Hansen. Fail races in there as well. Then we've got Rokas Pachuska and Martin Enland as your top 8 in the points. Now, let's see, page 2, there we go. Kelvin van der Linde, Matvey Farashkin, Fraser McConnell, Scott Pye, Charles Leclerc, because we had the famous Ferrari F1 driver taking part in events. Well, Hayden Paddon's back this weekend. We're very, very grateful for all the different drivers who've come and taken part in the esports series with us. We have got a few missing today, and I'm afraid that's because real-life motorsport is starting up. When I say I'm afraid, I'm not afraid. I'm very pleased that real-life motorsport is starting up. We're grateful to the drivers who've given us their time, and of course, some of them have had to get themselves off and do real motorsport. So Shane van Gisbergen, in fact, I believe he's back on V8 duty this weekend. Right, let's take a look at the wonderful track here at Hollius. You're going to be riding on board with Reini Snittish from last year. Have a look at this. Sweden has been on the calendar since the start of the World Championship in 2014, and of course plenty of European events prior to that. It's a 60-40 asphalt dirt split, anti-clockwise, and it's a proper roller coaster. We ride on board with Reini Snittish off the start line, freshly resurfaced this year, onto the dirt where the grip level changes immediately. Crest right, the car goes light through here. Now you get to choose whether you go Joker or Standard. Snittish goes straight into the Joker, rotates the car nicely, pop the curb on the left and the right. Here you merge with the cars who come over the jump on the exit of turn 2. Use the curb on the left and a bigger curb on the right. Now there's extra track width over this crest. Take the car over to the right-hand side and then in towards the apex through the fantastic banked velodrome corner. On the throttle, laying down 600 horsepower, pull gears past another new curb on the left. Classic Hollies now down the hill, 6th gear into the right-hander, down a couple of gears, pop the curb again, up and over the big jump. Get it landed on the brakes, down the gears, into the hairpin, and then it's feathering the throttle around to take the finish line. Well, we are ready for Q1 to get things underway straight away. We have 16 drivers with us today. We've got some of them on Zoom, so you'll be able to take a look at some onboards during the course of the show as well. On pole for this first race, Tom Blomqvist, the winner last time out. Matt Veyfarashkin next to him. Then it's Fabian Payet. Fabian making his debut in the Esports Series along with his brother. And then we've got Martin Enland on the outside of the grid. So it'd be interesting to see how Blomqvist gets on here. Blomqvist very much flew under.
It looks like we've lost Andrew Coley for now, so I can pick up while we wait for him to get back. Interesting. First appearance for the Payet brothers. Fabien racing in this, and of course, Jonathan racing in Q1 race 3. It's interesting as well because we've got the Payet brothers, two French rallycross experts in the pro racing, and of course the Del Olmo brothers, two young French experts in the sim racing, which is coming up later as well, Coley. And there's a lot of heritage here because Tom Blomqvist, of course, is the son of the original Stig, who did do some rallycross here at Hurlius back in the day.
Yeah, the proper Stig, not the Top Gear one. Yeah, the original one. So looking forward to seeing if Tom's got the same pace that he had last time out in Norway. Hopefully these guys, they're allowed to play with the settings, the pro drivers, and we're hearing they have finished playing with the settings. So they're allowed to do their own setups, whereas the esports drivers have to stick with the standard setup. We are missing a driver, so I wonder if that's someone with an issue. Looks like we've got Payet on the outside and Farashkin. Who are we missing? Enland. Yeah, Martin Enland is missing. So they're on their the correct points on the grid. It's Tom Blomqvist on your right on the pole. Look for the ready to race light. That's the view that the drivers see at this wonderful circuit. Can't wait to get back there with the real-life FIA World Rallycross Championship. Green light, brilliant start for Blomqvist on the inside, going to out drag the guys down towards turn 1. Got to mind that curb. Almost a move there, and it is a move. Matt Veyfarashkin carrying more speed with a wider entry. Goes straight to the Joker lap, lines himself up, loses a little bit of time in the Joker, so not a perfect Joker there for Matt Veyfarashkin, but great tactics from him in turn 1. Over the crest and dropping down now into Velodrome. The line through here is absolutely crucial because now it's 6th gear all the way down here. You'll get a look at the minute at the very famous big jump. You're with Farashkin now close to the barrier. Flick the car right, up and then over this huge crest, and then it's immediately on the brakes and into the hairpin left to complete lap 1 here at Hurlius. What an absolutely brilliant track. A good move there, Neil, I think, by Farashkin in turn 1, but maybe not the tidiest Joker.
No, but it was very smart because he used his extra pace that he knew he was going to carry into the Joker to almost pull a move on Tom Blomqvist, which would have slightly spooked Blomqvist, but then he's now right on the back of Fabien Payet. So Fabien, of course, hasn't been in this series. We don't know how many hours of practice he's put in. They're all very, very close, within 2.12 seconds of each other. And the Joker Delta, we haven't quite worked out yet today in these dry conditions.
Blomqvist using a lot of handbrake. If you watch the way he's moving the car around, very aggressive on turning. Watch here for turn 1. Coming in towards the curve on the inside. In fact, he's a little bit deep there, so Blomqvist not with the perfect line through that section. This bit here really crucial to get up on both curbs over the crest. You can't run out too wide. There's Armco on the outside. He's using absolutely every inch of the track as we expect. And then through the long left, you can see where the black tarmac is. That's where the rubber lays down on the road. These guys taking a slightly tighter line maybe than in real life. There's Fabien Payet. Looks like he's got his gloves on. I think he has, so he's fully in the mode. Fabien through the left-handed hairpin. P2 for him. How far? But Farashkin's 3.9 back as we go on to the last lap. So we should see Blomqvist and Payet into the Joker. Payet quite wild through turn 1, but holds on to it. Is he going to come out in front of Farashkin? He is. So 3.9 definitely was enough. And it's, what is it now? That was from the leader, of course, so the gap between them 1.5 now. It's definitely a couple of seconds, Neil.
Yeah, I'd say about bang on 2 seconds. But interesting, it's obvious that Fabien has been putting in the time because this is a game that really, really rewards, like all sim racing, hours of practice to find where you need to push and to find how to kind of hack the physics of the game.
So Blomqvist takes the first race with a 2:32.8. Good drive by him, but it remains to be seen whether or not that's going to be fast enough to hold on to the win in Q1. It was pretty clean, to be fair. Only that one challenge from Farashkin in the first corner. So Blomqvist takes first blood. We've got the grid for you already for Q1 race 2. So in this one then, Rokas Baciuska on the pole, Sivert Svardal next to Baciuska. Then it's Marius Bermingrid and Max Coates is with us this weekend. So Max Coates fittingly in the BMW Mini because that was what he was going to be racing in the BTCC support category this year. He was a runner-up in Renault Clio's last year. So Baciuska on the pole. Was pretty aggressive last time out. In fact, I think everybody was quite aggressive last time out in Norway. So I wonder what Baciuska can do this time. Waiting for the drivers to finish their setups, and then we'll get the race underway immediately.
Hearing that Marius Bermingrid hasn't made it to the grid, whether he's got lost connection in the lobby. So it could be another three-car race.
No Bermingrid then. That will mean that Coates will be in next to Svardal. They've had a couple of messages come in. So one from Tony Simpson, who both me and Neil know, rally driver from here in the UK, who says he likes the map behind me. Always feels like a geography lesson might be about to break out. Well, you know, if we're desperate for some filling, then yeah, we may well. I did use the map the first week, but then I discovered it's very, very hard using a FaceTime camera to accurately point at a country because it's like trying to shave the back of your head using a mirror. You always go the wrong way. So there speaks a man who has shaved his own head 3 times during lockdown. It's pretty simple when you go for the tennis ball. You know, my chosen haircut, grade 1 for lockdown, grade 2 normally if you're interested. So hopefully we should be getting these guys into the grid. The dog's here, by the way. I know a few people have asked on social media where the dog is. My wife's gone shopping, so the dog has decided that I'm better company this week because she's not here. So now you know which one his favourite is, don't you? I'll get him on camera at the end of the session, maybe if he hasn't left the room. He often leaves the room thanks to the shouting.
Interesting.
Right, so yeah, if you do want to drop us a message, give us a shout on social media. Sorry, Neil, go on.
It's interesting that this isn't an all Peugeot battle. This will be a Megane, a Mini, and a Peugeot 208. Of course, the Peugeot, the choice of most gamers in the game because it's get the setup right, and it is a weapon on this game.
Baciuska with the team he'll be with this year when we resume. Max Coates is there, but he's not in the car we were expecting him to be in. So Max not racing the BMW Mini that he will be racing. We did have this last week. Tamara Molinaro decided to take the wrong car in one race. We thought it was a pretty good tactic. If you don't like the one you've got, just take somebody else's. So we'll see if Max sticks with it or not. Not a great start for Max anyway. Baciuska door-to-door with Svardal up towards turn 1. Baciuska up on 2 wheels. Svardal out in the gravel. Baciuska Joker straight away. Svardal changed his mind at the last second. Great steering inputs there. You've got a fantastic view of Baciuska and his steering inputs through that first corner. See that Svardal just in front of you. So Baciuska there with an absolutely mega Joker lap.
Yeah, I don't know how he's managed to get the Joker quite that quick. I mean, he's a very, very dynamic driver anyway. He always brings the ruckus, but extraordinary how much he's straight back on Sivert's, rear wing straight away. Definitely in the position when Sivert jokers to take the lead of this race easily.
0.7 of a second between the now. I think Svardal might as well wait until the end of the race. Interestingly, looking at his actual lap pace, there isn't a lot in it, but off the start there, you see Svardal. The other thing is, Neil, Svardal changed his mind for me. If you look at the picture of the car on the way in, he maybe wasn't expecting to go to the standard lap, and then when Baciuska came joke around the outside of him, he's maybe lost a little bit of time there, because if you look, in fact, he's edged another 0.2 out Baciuska. So Svardal, who was impressive last time out in hell, and another 10th, so he's now a second up. So Svardal's got to push big time here. He's got another 2 laps to go before he's got to go Joker. Well, a lap now, and then that might just give him enough time to get out in front of Baciuska, who's monstering those curves in the background.
Yeah, and I got a feeling that we might see this as a quicker heat. Of course, for those of you not familiar with the way rallycross works, the timing in qualifying is everything. Overall, your timing is more important than whether you win or lose a race, because you may be in a really slow heat but win your race, or you might be in a fast heat and set the quickest time every top qualifier. So that's the thing to look out for, and this feels quicker.
Yeah, it does feel quicker, definitely. Svardal's edged it again, so Svardal is now 0.4 extra up the road. He's got 1.5. He's got a Joker this time. This is going to give us a really good idea of what the Joker delta is. Watch for Svardal on the merge here. We're on board with Baciuska, who's going to go over the jump. Look for Svardal along that wing mirror. Svardal's going to come out in front. 1.5 is easily enough. So then, that's interesting. Baciuska's Joker on the first lap wasn't quite as brilliant as we thought it was. There's only a 0.1 of a second in it between those two, but we don't know if Baciuska made a mistake or not, cost himself some time. but 1.5 at the minute looks like it's definitely enough. The gap now 0.8, so maybe cost him 0.7 of a second. But Sievert Svardal going to come round the hairpin here from Bachuska right on his rear wing. He takes a great win in race 2 Q1. Bachuska and Max Coates far behind either on his debut in the World RX Esports Series. The winning time is a 2:30.0, and that is indeed 2.8 seconds quicker than Tom Blomqvist went in the first race. So a 2:30.056 for Svardal is the winning time from race 2, and at the minute, that is our top qualifying time for this one. They'll get qualifying points, of course, from this session, which will then add up to put them on the grid for the semi-finals later on. 16 drivers, only 10 go through to the semis. From the semis, the top 2 go through, and then the fastest third-place driver. So dry conditions at Holliest. Neil, I think that was a pretty impressive run by Svardal, to be fair. You know, Blomqvist, we know he's fast from hell. If you're fast there, you're going to be quick here, and he's gone 2.8 quicker. For me, Blomqvist had a chance there at a clear run, and he's been soundly beaten.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a story behind that. It may have something to do with settings, allowing setup for the first race or not. But, you know, we'll see. It all tends to come out in the wash because they do a lot of racing during the 4 qualifying sessions just to choose. So their pace kind of, you know, the cream rises to the top unless someone has, you know, 4 rounds of bad luck. You know what it's like. You always, someone who can bang in 4 consistently good laps will always be in the top 3 or 4 unless they have major issues, either technical or with sort of battling on track.
I think one of the tricks is not to make any major mistakes. Yeah, it might not be perfect. If you don't have a perfect weekend, that's fine. If you're not taking the TQ, it's fine. But if you don't mess up a session badly when you're one of the quick people, normally there'll be enough averageness or mistakes in there to see you plenty up the grid. So we'll find out with more than halfway through Q1. Jonathan Paye on the inside, Henrik Krogstad next to him. Krogstad, of course, had a podium in Abu Dhabi in round 1. We then got Tessa Whittaker, we saw practicing earlier with her VR headset on. And it was Hayden Padden on the outside. You are behind Henrik Krogstad, the yellow squad driver, fittingly with a yellow livery on his 208. This year it'll be an RX2 car rather than a 208. I'm sure he'll be looking to graduate to that as soon as he possibly can. So it's a good start on the inside for Jonathan Paye, but Krogstad has got the better of him. Krogstad on the handbrake, just holding on, an enormous shunt. Krogstad goes over, caught the end of the curb. He's ripped the front off the car, but he continues. You can see the bonnet's gone. I think, he lost the rear wing as well. So, yeah, massive damage to Krogstad's car, but as you can see, no punctures, and he's going to try and get the hammer down now and see if he can catch up. Neil, he was really unlucky to hit the curb at the angle he hit it out there, and it absolutely sent him.
I think he has got a rear right
puncture.
Right's
gone. Yeah, rear right's
and also
gone.
For those of you who do play the game Dirt Rally 2.0, that would often result in a terminal damage red bar across the screen, telling you what speed you hit the barrier at. So he's lucky to still be going, but it'll be a nightmare to try and control that car with its puncture dragging and sparking, carving into the tarmac around this track.
We were just saying that a bad session would hurt you, and unfortunately for Krogstad, this is definitely going to be a bad session. He's going to need 3 really good ones if he wants to make it through to the semi-finals. You can also see as well that unfortunately we've lost Tessa Whittaker. So Tessa Whittaker is a DNF or a DNS in this. She was on the grid, Neil, wasn't she? And then disappeared before they took the start. I noticed that her name didn't appear on the timing bar, so maybe a connection issue for Tessa. That's a shame. You're on board with Hayden Padden, who everyone was really looking forward to taking part in WRC New Zealand this year. I was looking forward to seeing that wonderful classic event back on the calendar. And I really hope they can find a space for it in WRC in the future. I know there's question marks over what year it might come back, but for me, it's one of the best events out there. Those wonderful cambered roads, you know, that's where my hero Colin McRae made his career. Basically, you can actually play those career modes as well in Dirt Rally 2.0. The last bit of download for it was a wonderful set of Colin McRae challenges, which I'm about halfway through. Jonathan Paye, you're looking at, everybody's joking. Paye coming round with a lap to go, bit of grass cutting on the inside there, Neil.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, if you play the game, you'll know the track limits within the game are policed by a spotter with a familiar voice. But also we have to keep an eye on anyone who's taking excessive use, because there are a couple of places, especially on this track, Hurlius, where you can take massive cuts like we saw back at Yas Marina, which are unpunished by the game. So I think the drivers themselves are kind of policing which cuts you do and don't take.
Paye looking very aggressive here, and I have to say looking pretty quick. Aiming for 2:30, which was the fastest time. This is going to be close for Paye. Absolutely bang on the money. Jonathan Paye on his debut in the Esports Series, proving that he's got what it takes. You're on board with Krogstad. Oh, he's got 22 seconds to get it to the line to get himself not a DNF. A DNF is an absolutely disastrous score. He's really hanging on to the yellow squad machine. You can see the rear right's gone. Surprised he hasn't broken the wheel. Cuts the curbs. Oh, Henrik, no! Absolutely on the lock stop. Spins it one way and the other, and he's on the end of the Armco. He's never going to make the line, surely. 5 seconds to go. Come on, Henrik. Get it round that last corner. Got across the timing line. Ah, it's a DNF. Gutted. He's missed it literally by a second. But Jonathan Paillet, with a 2:30.5, has actually gone in P2 in this session. So 2:30.569 for Jonathan Paillet sees him in second place in Q1 with just one race to go.
That's extraordinary. Yeah, it's a real shame for Henrik. It's a bad start for him, but of course, you know, he is quick. He can make it up in the next few sessions. And we've bumped Tessa from the last race to this one. So now she gets to race with the Hansen brothers and fail race.
Right, so we are okay, perfect. So Tamara Molinaro is MIA, I'm afraid. So Tessa is taking her slot on the grid because she had a connection problem. That's good to hear. So Tessa Wittock is which car is Tessa in? I'm assuming she's in the Audi. Yeah, the Baccarat Audi. So our grids are wrong, so you just have to let us. Well, no, and where? Yeah. So okay, it's Alex Day, fail race on the inside on pole. So you're on board with Timmy Hansen, the World Rallycross champion. Oh, Alex Day alongside Kevin Hansen. Kevin and Timmy, I thought, might split the strategy there. Oh, no, and Alex Day changed his mind there at the last second. Nobody jokers on that one. That's going to see a train then around here. Normally, if you're at the back of that pack and you see that nobody's joking in front of you, you go joker, definitely. But the trouble is they'd all committed to the brakes, Neil.
Yeah, that's a sort of the kind of thing that if it had been Timmy or Kevin, they would have used their Rallycross nous to do that. But of course, Alex and Tessa, this isn't their number one category. So they aren't aware that that could be the ideal strategy caught in that situation.
Kevin Hansen trailing his brother Timmy Hansen. They went door to door here through this next section of track, absolutely knocking bells out of each other through here. It was brilliant. They really were taking no prisoners. There were question marks over, how much would they help each other? Would they race? Obviously as brothers and teammates, and especially as they were both in the world title fight when we were at Hollius last year, and they absolutely went at it. You can see them side by side there. Timmy looks on, got a sweat on. I don't know who he's talking to, whether he's shouting across at Kevin or on the grass on the outside. He runs deep. Timmy Hansen with a mistake. Kevin Hansen maybe can capitalise on this out the hairpin. Timmy shuts the door on the left-hand side. Where's Kevin, though? So Kevin wasn't able to do so. Alex Day cutting the grass on that left-hand side. He has joked, and he's now 3.3 seconds off the back of the leader, Timmy Hansen. Tessa Wittock heading down. Now it looks towards the finish line. So Tessa a little way off. Oh, Kevin through. Timmy's joking. Kevin just in front. So nearly, it's a tiny difference to the Joker lap.
Yeah, normally the Joker, is a good sort of 2 seconds, but this is obviously one that you can fly through if you get the angles right. But yes, when this plays out, Timmy is absolutely all over the back of Kevin.
Kevin wasn't far back, was he, last time? When's Kevin going to go Joker now? Watch him send it in sideways all the way out to the outside. Kevin Hansen with massive speed. This will be close at the merge, just behind him. So it literally is 2 or 3 car lengths the difference. Kevin Hansen with a brilliant entry into the Joker, looks up the inside in the velodrome. Can't quite make it work. Timmy Hansen on the throttle earlier than him. 0.4 of a second between them. These two will now drive down towards the line. Watch Kevin's fingers on the gears, and you can see doesn't have to knock it down a cog as he comes over the jump. He will do into the hairpin. Timmy Hansen going to take it. What's the time? It's not enough. Timmy Hansen isn't quick enough to win the session, I don't think. There's Tessa Wittock sideways through the right-hander before the jump, coming down towards the hairpin. Tessa doing a great job. Good to see her getting a run in after last week she had issues with the VR. Timmy Hansen, 2:30.3. It's not enough. It's Sievert Svardal who wins Q1, but Timmy Hansen with that time will go into P2. Kevin Hansen with a 2:31.1 isn't quite quick enough to beat Jonathan Paillet, so I think he's going to drop one place further back. So a 2:30.358 for Timmy Hansen. And I'm just scribbling that down on my piece of paper in front of me. And a win for Sievert Svardal by 0.3 of a second. There was only half a second between Svardal, Hansen, and Jonathan Paillet. So a really, really close Q1. For me, I think the big surprise there for me, Neil, is Jonathan Paillet. Straight into esports and absolutely bang on the money. These guys are rockets at the front of the field. We already knew Svardal was quick, but for Paillet to come in and do that, hats off.
Yeah, I think he's come under my radar a little bit. I have to go back and have a look to see if he's been streaming any of his practice on Twitch or on YouTube, because he's clearly been putting in the hours. You can't. That's not that to arrive on in the esports series and to deliver times like that. I think they've been practicing, and who knows, they might even have hooked up with their sort of sim sports counterparts, the Del Olmo brothers, for a few sort of tips in how to tackle these circuits in this game, because that is very impressive. And it's the time of his brothers not to be sniffed at either.
No, very good indeed. What else messages have we got coming in? Oh, Timo Scheider's messaged me. He's opening up an online bookies. I won't tell you what he's betting on. And then yeah, that's it basically. That's all I've got of interest. Let me just have a quick check of Twitter while we wait to get Q2 grids underway.
So worth flagging up while you have a look at Twitter, Coley, that with a few people missing from that first qualifying, Martin Enland, Marius Bermingrid, Tamara Molinaro, that actually we're in the situation where almost all of the field could make it through. I think we've got 11 people who were in Q1. So it means we'd only lose one driver, and you're basically fighting for the one person to not make the cut into the semifinals, which are 2 5-car races.
So at the moment, we're just working on some replays for you at home if you're watching. At the moment, obviously, the person who had the biggest shocker in Q1 was Henrik Krogstad with a DNF. Now, normally a DNF is 0 points, game over, particularly someone like Hollius in real life when we've got a massive entry. The bigger the entry, the worse it is when you get a 0, because it's very hard to fight your way back unless you're like a Johan or a Timmy who then goes out and smashes in 3 session wins, gets 350 points and you scrape your way in. So for me, it's Henrik who I think, Neil, could stand a chance here of fighting back. If he's only got to beat one driver, but what Henrik has got to do is not have another Q1. He's got to be right up there in the other sessions.
Should we have a look at how that panned out in some replays, Coley?
Sounds good to me, mate. Oh, we don't have them.
Sorry, that was my mistake. We can't. We haven't got.
What do you want to do instead, Neil? Do you want to say hello to the dog?
Yeah, where is he?
Have we got time? Are we ready for Q2? We have the standings. The dog can wait. The dog can wait. Standings after Q1. Let's have a look at this. Here we go. Right. Hold on. What do we got? Top of the table is Sivert Svardal with that win. Timmy Hansen was second according to this. He was, yeah. Then Jonathan Paye, Rokas Bachuska looking fourth place. So Bachuska actually was quick enough. Yeah. So he was P2 to Svardal. So yeah, he was Rokas Bachuska there beating Kevin Hansen. Then Blomqvist fail race. Tamara Molinaro showing an 8th. That can't quite be right because Tamara wasn't in. So I'm guessing that's possibly Tessa, but I don't know. We'll have that looked at. But I'm pretty confident at least the top 7 there are good to go. So yeah, we got a problem for Krogstad. He's going to have to fight his way back. So here we go then. Q2 coming up. Well, talking of Krogstad, that man with the big fight back is on the pole in this one. Rokas Bachuska next to him, who had a brilliant Q1 session. Then Martin Enland, who I think was missing. He was. And Max Coates, who turned up in a different car. And if he does that in the BMW One Make Series in British Touring Cars, he will definitely be excluded, especially if he turns up with a Peugeot 208 World Rallycross car. I suspect a World Rallycross car around the Brands Hatch Indy circuit would be lap record material. I might be wrong, but it would certainly be very fast. Maybe a little bit short on top speed. But anyway, you
might need to lower the setup a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Max is in this one. Let's see what Max has got, and most importantly, let's see what Henrik Krogstad has got in terms of pace. So Max is in the Mini. Krogstad was showing as P4 on the grid. So who's missing here? That's interesting. Why is Krogstad over on the far side?
There's Enland again, I think. So Krogstad would have had his car.
Yeah, the grid's different to what I'm expecting, though, Neil. I was expecting Krogstad on pole. So Krogstad's on the outside. Either way, it'll all wash itself out by the time we get towards turn 1. It's Bachuska versus Krogstad on that run down. Krogstad's got a better start, but Bachuska will run deep. This is what happened to Krogstad last time he went over the curbs and launched the car. Where is Henrik Krogstad in the background? Bachuska's got the whole shot. Krogstad's gone Joker, and Max Coates has gone with Bachuska. So Krogstad looks to me, Neil, to be quite a long way back considering Joker's right behind Bachuska. So he's changed his mind, hasn't he, after the move from Bachuska, where Bachuska ran wide in turn 1. Max Coates having a look, though. Come on, Max. Now he's in the right car. He's applying the pressure to Bachuska. If he can go with Rokas, then Max is on the pace from the looks of things.
Yeah, definitely. I think that showed Krogstad's rallycross smarts, but he was totally squeezed out and had to take the Joker. But yes, he's got some ground to make up, but at least relatively clear air to catch up to the back of Max Coates. But yeah, look.
Oh, Max Coates. I would have gone Joker there, Max. Mistake from Max. He almost took Baciuszka out. He did the gentlemanly thing, and he got on the brakes to avoid it, but that would have been the perfect time, Neil, to carry that speed past the back of Baciuszka's car and go Joker, because to me, he looked like he had good pace anyway. Unfortunately, he's then run himself deep, missed the apex, taxied to the apex, and in fact almost stalled the car up. So that's a shame for Max, because he was looking really, really quick, and he ended up parked in turn one after a little mistake.
Yeah, on his camera, if you could lip read, you could see he wasn't very happy about that at all. But that happens in the game. You're kind of indecisive for a split second as to whether to carry your momentum into the Joker or to sort of turn in sharper, and you lose like a second at least.
Yeah, Max has gone Joker on this lap in the background, so he's going to be off the back of these two. It's a shame Henrik Krogstad, though, who has Jokered, is right behind Baciuszka. We know, though, that the Joker lap here is very, very quick indeed. 0.4 of a second between Krogstad and Baciuszka. Baciuszka, to me, Krogstad looked tidier through turn one, certainly in terms of line. Baciuszka's making more adjustments to the car mid-corner. Coming up now for the Joker. Here we go then. Watch Baciuszka to go wide into the Joker, towards the apex. Now he'll go straight. Krogstad on the brakes early. Baciuszka's not gone in there as quickly as the Hansons do, certainly. There was about 0.4 in it. And as they come out the other side, it's gone 0.3 the other way. So that's about 0.7, maybe just a little bit more, Neil, I think. A little bit of momentum lost on the way in and on the way out. Good run for Krogstad here. Going to take this one.
Yeah, it's exactly what he needed, you know, after the virtual repair time between Q1 and Q2 to fix up that Peugeot. And despite, you know, a little snafu in the first corner with Baciuszka, he's managed to bring this home, and hopefully that's a good time.
2:31-ish. Just looking at it, good drive by Max Coates, I think, as well. 2:31.3. So that would have put him right up there in the top five, certainly in that first Q1 session. So it's a good recovery from Krogstad, but definitely having been run wide by Baciuszka, and fair enough in turn one, Krogstad lost out there. So that's not the ultimate pace from Krogstad, but it's still a very good run considering his disaster in Q1. Max Coates too, I think, has got good pace. I hope we'll see a bit more from him in the later sessions. Q2 race 2 is ready. Timmy Hansen, the world champion on pole. Tom Blomqvist, the winner last time out, is next to him. Then it's Tessa Wittek and Sivert Svardal. Of course, Svardal, the winner of Q1. So can Svardal take it to Hansen here? We'll have to see.
Now, in the absence of Shane van Gisbergen, the Timmy Hansen Tom Blomqvist fight is the one that all eyes will be on, because that's the serious championship battle with one round left to go after today.
4 cars on the grid. This time they are where we expect them to be. There's Tessa Wittek and the Monster Energy backed Audi. Of course, Bakker has actually moved across to GCK this year. Can't wait to see what he can do in the Megane. Anti-lag on, the ready to race light goes out. There you can see Tessa with her VR headset on. The headset is absolutely brilliant, allows you to look sideways when you're off the start line, but it's a great start by Timmy Hansen. Blomqvist runs wide. Sivert Svardal slots in, all those three. And again, Tessa for me should have gone Joker there, Neil, but she didn't this time. So it's Tom Blomqvist who's in behind Svardal, but all three of these guys are fast enough if they want to, Neil, to just do a train. You know, just follow each other on and set a time, as long as they don't get stuck into each other.
Yeah, Tessa was unlucky. She got walloped sideways a little bit by Blomqvist into turn one, but now, yeah, they could easily just follow each other around, set really good times, not getting anyone's way, but that's not what they're doing. That's Sivert Svardal and Tom Blomqvist.
Svardal's got him, so Svardal, Blomqvist was behind, wasn't he? Oh, there. So that's what happened to Max Coates last time, and a good job done just about by Tom Blomqvist not to take out Svardal. Just came across the back of his rear end, missed him by the tiniest of margins, and that's actually going to give Blomqvist now a little bit of clear track to try and close the gap down. If I were Timmy Hansen, I might think about Joker in a lap earlier than normal just to cover off Blomqvist, because they didn't cover him off last time in Norway, Neil, and he won.
I've been trying to predict what Timmy Hansen's going to do since the beginning of this esports series, and I always get it wrong. So I'm not going to commit to whether he's going to.
Oh, Neil, you're the co-commentator. You have to commit and get it wrong sometimes.
Well, there we go. I didn't think he was going to Joker in lap 3, and he didn't. So he'll save it till the last lap. Yeah.
There we go. So were you right or wrong? I can't figure out the thinking.
Both.
Perfect. That's all good, mate. That sounds like one of my standard weekends. Down on the gravel section, into the right-hander, Timmy Hansen's Farmstyle, 3/10 off the back, 2.3 back for Blomqvist. And I actually think these two guys are going quick enough to hold Blomqvist off Svartdal. They're literally alongside. You can see Kevin Hansen sitting over Timmy Hansen's shoulder. Look at the concentration on Timmy's face. Both into the Joker. Timmy less spectacular than Kevin was last time. Clips the barrier on the inside. Oh, I think Blomqvist's going to get Svartdal. Svartdal made a mistake on the way into the Joker. Timmy Hansen comes out just in front of Tom Blomqvist, but Svartdal, who was right with Timmy Hansen, made a mistake. Maybe when Timmy clipped the wall, maybe he followed him in. But either way, Timmy Hansen out front
was way too hot into that Joker, and he had to really weigh the anchors.
Stuck it in the wall, maybe. Over the jump. Hansen coming through the long left hand of the target time is a 2:31.3. He's going to get that. I think it's a 2:29. I reckon that's fastest time of the weekend so far. Tester Whittock over the big jump on the brakes, into the hairpin, straighten that car up on the gas, and she's going to stop the clocks as well. And it is a 2:29.7 for Timmy Hansen. And that is the fastest time of the weekend so far. The session previous to this one, Q1, was one with a 2:30.056. So brilliant job by Timmy Hansen. Also, Tom Blomqvist with a 2:30.5 goes quicker than Henrik Krogstad. So Krogstad will be a good few places in front of Tessa Whittock, and I think that's going to be key for him in terms of trying to get himself back into the semi-finals. So Matvey Frashkin on the pole, Kevin Hansen showing us next to him. Yes, then Tamara Molinaro and Alex Day fail race. So let's see if Tamara's made it or not. We've got but maybe we'll have all four cars. Okay, here we go. Heading down to the grid now. Can Farashkin hold off Kevin Hansen from the inside? We are missing Molinaro, so Tamara, I think, is a goner for today. Farashkin, Kevin Hansen, and Alex Day. Hands on the wheel, looking for the ready-to-race light. Most of these guys probably starting in second gear, maybe third in the wet, but second almost certain in dry conditions. Depends what they've done with their gear ratios. On board with Kevin Hansen, great start by Alex Day on the outside of him down towards turn one. He puts the squeeze on Farashkin. Farashkin runs wide. Alex Day ends up in the gravel, going to straight line shortly to the Joker. He does great tactics by Alex Day, fail race. That's what you do if you're a rallycross driver. He's lost out the start. He's gone Joker straight away. Kevin Hansen, look around 180 degrees of steering input he's using today. He is through the velodrome on the first lap, and he's 0.6 in front of Farashkin already. Head down. I reckon Kevin's going to look to gap Farashkin by as much as he can here, Neil, and I think Kevin will wait for the last lap.
Yeah, so anyone who's put in any time on sim racing will know that you can put in hours and hours and hours of practice to get the apexes right and the right amount of sideways on this game, but the second you put another car in your racing line, it can really mess with your head. So the good thing for fail race is to get now 3 absolutely clean laps where he doesn't have to worry about cars in his doors. It's exactly like a practice session, so very, very good for these guys. And of course, same for Farashkin, really, the guy who's graduated from autocross brilliantly to rallycross, and he's following one of the best in the world.
There is Farashkin. I think Farashkin's got a motion rig going on there. Either that or he's got loose bolts on his seat. So he's looking at it through the right hander. Yeah, definitely a motion rig. So into the left, Kevin over. Look at Kevin's line. Could not be closer to the end of the Armco there. Absolutely optimizing it. Alex Day just 3.4 off the back of them, but we know that that's not going to be close enough to trouble Kevin. I'm actually quite impressed that Farashkin is fairly well going with him as well. Farashkin last week, I think it was Matvey who appeared in the semi-finals on the grid, but wasn't actually in them. And apparently he was in his simulator room and his parents were cheering downstairs. I can't remember what it was, but he messaged me after and said, yeah, they were really pleased. He said, and then I said to them, no, it's not right. But I forget the exact details, but yeah, he certainly had some fun at home. But here's Kevin. That's Kevin's line into the Joker, which is absolutely brilliant. Straight to the apex, and behind him as well, Farashkin going well. He's going to come out in front of Alex Day, about a second in front. Kevin Hansen now then chasing the time of his brother. Timmy Hansen, the target time, the fastest time of the weekend so far, 2:29.737. Into the right-hander. This is a good run by Kevin. You can see from the look on his face, he's looking pretty pleased with himself. Perfect through the last corner. What can he do on the clock? So it's going to be close. Mistake for Alex Day. Alex Day's lost it on the landing from the jump. probably with a bit of steering on when he's hit the brakes. 2:30.1 for Kevin. It is a quick time, but it's not enough to beat his brother Timmy. So 2:30.165 for Kevin Hansen is quick, but not quite quick enough.
Interesting though, he did seem to get the Joker almost perfect there. It's really neat and tidy, not too close to the barriers. Maybe a little bit overcautious, but it doesn't matter. It worked.
Right, this one there, Marius Bermingrid, last race of Q2 on the pole. Then Jonathan Paillet, Fabien Paillet, and Hayden Padden. A couple of messages come in about the Paillet. So we've had Glenn Montgomery on Twitter has said, Paillet brothers have been sim racing for years. One of my first online races in RX on dirt was with Jonathan and Fabien, really close battles. And also a message from Rennie Sortens, who is with the No Control Esports team. We've got a couple of drivers in our esports semis, which will be on later on, and he said the Paillet brothers do a lot of RX with them as well. So the Paillet brothers are both seasoned esports competitors, and we saw from Q1 Jonathan Paillet with a 2:30.5 absolutely on the pace. Oh, I think they've chosen identical cars. That's how fantastic for us.
Like they're doing the real thing.
Than, brothers with the same car and the same name and everything. So well, let's hope that they're in. So who's missing from the grid?
Bermingrid, yeah.
Yes, Bermingrid. Yeah, okay. So Bermingrid, okay, was missing. So Bermingrid's probably gone as well. So then you're with Hayden Padden. What can Hayden do from the outside of the grid? Doesn't get as good start. Both the Paillet brothers look side by side on the run down to turn one. Jonathan Paillet leading Fabien, going to go down. There goes Joker. I thought he was going standard lap. He's absolutely chucked that in from miles out. Comes out the Joker lap in P2. So Fabien Paillet leads from his brother Jonathan Paillet. Hayden Padden in P3. Jonathan and Hayden are both Joker. Now it's whether or not Fabien, no, I don't think he's going to be, I was going to say it's about whether or not he can get far enough away. But already on the back of him, Jonathan Paillet is right up behind Fabien. So Jonathan Paillet did that 2:30.5 in Q1, looking really dangerous. Neil, he really could do with his brother getting out of the way here.
Yeah, he looks quicker, you know. He looks like he could do with team orders or a spotter saying, Joker now, get out of the way.
Yeah, he does. He goes Joker
exactly
now.
What he did.
Up Jonathan Paillet to come over the crest. And where's Fabien going to come in? Is Hayden going to get him or not? It was close at the merge behind them. Hayden just gets it. So Jonathan Paillet leading Hayden Padden and Fabien Paillet. They have all jokered by lap 2. So it's early joke strategy. Neil, I wonder if the Paillet brothers had already spoken about strategy for jokers from the way they executed turn 1.
Yeah, I presume so, because that didn't kind of happen by accident. But the problem is the classic Joker strategy means that Fabien's taking the short straw because he's behind Hayden, and you'd have to imagine that he would be quicker than the WRC, the brilliant WRC driver. So he is probably just being slightly held up by Padden, but at the same time, it meant that they weren't getting in each other's way, and one of them would be able to set a blistering time. And in this case, it's Jonathan.
So Jonathan Paillet leading by 1.2 seconds from Hayden Padden. Fabien Paillet at the back of the pack, maybe held up by Padden. Not so sure, but let's see what times they can do. Another lap to go yet. Padden will be following with interest, trying to learn the lines. See, I would use a little more curb on the right there, and you know, I'm gutted for Hayden that we haven't seen him out this year on WRC, Neil. You know, the livery for the car was done and everything. It looked absolutely fantastic. Of course, he's backed, isn't he, by Hyundai out in New Zealand. Looking forward to seeing him back in a top-level car. He's building an electric rallycross car as well, using bits from Star Project E. So, such a shame not to see him out in Rally New Zealand and not to see the rally take part. But of course, the health and safety of everybody in New Zealand absolutely paramount. So, hopefully things okay for everyone over there. Paillet around a 2:30, 2:31. It was a 2:30.4. So 2:30.4 for Jonathan Paillet means that Timmy Hansen wins Q2, 4:30. And a 2:29.737 for Timmy Hansen is enough to see him win the second qualifying session. So great job by Timmy. Yeah, fantastic. 2:30.737. Sorry, 2:29.737. So, yeah, great stuff. Timmy Hansen wins Q2. Sivert Svardal won Q1. Neil, a good recovery, I think, from Yellow Squad, basically. Not, you know, broken wheel and tyre off in the first session, and a much better run in the second one.
Yeah, it's good to see Krogstad. He'll have I don't know how far up the sort of standings that will bring him, but you need a solid second race if your first race has been a disaster. And to be honest, that whole session, Quali 2, was relatively problem free for everyone. There weren't any major sort of incidents, not too much crashing or bashing of doors, but that's often the case when you have races that are fewer than 5 on the grid. Everyone kind of gives each other enough space, and there's enough room on these tracks, no matter how short and narrow they are, for everyone to drive their own race, which is good to see. Driving standards generally good so far.
Enlund was missing, wasn't he, again from this one? So we've lost Enlund, we've lost Molinaro, and we think we've lost Birmingham. So we are looking at one person not making it through to the semis. We can look at the standings after we've had a quick look at some replays, I think. So let's take a look back at some of the action from Q2. Max Coates entered last time, but unfortunately didn't have his setup ready to go. He was unlucky there, Neil. I actually think he did the gentlemanly thing in not taking Bachuska out, but just a little jink of the steering to the right. And again, maybe if he had a tiny bit more rallycross experience, he might have just gone, do you know what, I'll carry the speed and go the other way. That was Timmy Hansen with a mistake, I think, tapping the wall. So could Timmy have gone even quicker? Kevin Hansen out front from Matvey Farashkin, Alex Day, both those guys running out into the dirt. That's the kind of decision-making you have to make on the fly in a first or second corner joker. There you can see Kevin Hansen. Kevin looking super relaxed, I have to say, in the sim room with his brother Timmy. They're both pretty busy. I think Timmy Hansen's in the Race of Champions later on today as well, which he would have been invited to in real life as the World Rallycross Champion. Both Peter Solberg, Johan Kristoffersen have been to. I'm not sure if Ekstrom went the year that he won or not, or if maybe there wasn't a Race of Champions that year. But great drive from Kevin Hansen here. Wasn't quite quick enough to win the session, but was super close to the top times. Hayden Padden, spoke about him a lot, as I say, and really looking forward to seeing what he can do back in a rally car, but great to have him in a rally cross car. And Hayden, thank you very much for taking part in our esports as well. And there we go. So we
had a tough...
all good.
So yeah, Hayden had a tough round last weekend when we were in hell. I think he's probably been able to put some time in this week on the Holliest track on Dirt Rally 2.0, which is, I think hell was one of my favorites, but Holiest, to play it on the game, is just so brilliant, because when you get it right, when you're fully sideways, and then that fast section down after Velodrome and then over the jump, is just, when you get it right, it feels amazing. But I very rarely get it right.
At least you get to enjoy the feeling when it happens, Neil. It's a real treat then, isn't it? If you got it right all the while, you wouldn't enjoy it anywhere nearly as much,
You're right. It's a treat.
You'd just be disappointed when you got it wrong instead. So maybe it's better for you to just get it right occasionally and, enjoy it that way. Right, what did we say, guys? Are we ready for Q3? Are we...
standings?
Yeah, we can see the standings. Yeah, let's take a look at the standings after Q2. Timmy Hansen at the top of the table. Then look, a win in Q2 and P2 in Q1. Sivert Svardal with that win in Q1. Not such a good performance in the second session, but still holds on to second place. Then it's Kevin Hansen, Jonathan Paye, Tom Blomqvist, Rokas Bachuska, Hayden Padden, Fabian Paye. But I'm interested to see the second page if we've got it. I'm not sure if we have. And that might tell us who's on the brink of making it or not. There it is. Okay, so bearing in mind that we've got, so 10 people, of course, Neil. We've got 13 drivers left. We're thinking normal World Rallycross, and there's only 10 are going to make it. So Farashkin, Coates, and Tessa Whittock at the minute are in danger of not making it. So Krogstad, look, after Q1, actually, so in fact, he didn't get a 0 for a DNF. He got a last place for a DNF, and that's why he's been able to fight back with a reasonable result in Q2. He's back in. But Alex Day, look, at Farashkin and Max Coates, all those guys within 3 points of each other on the standings after Q2. So still all to play for. Tessa Whittock could get it done as well, but Enlund, Birmingham, and Molinaro, so far, no shows today. I think we're just about ready for Q3, so let's get stuck in. Max Coates on the inside, then it's Timmy Hansen, Matvey Farashkin, and Kevin Hansen. So this will be a 4-car race, which is not ideal for these guys. I say we've got a couple of drivers missing here and there, and so far, I think Timmy Hansen's been in a busy race each time. So Timmy and Kevin going to go head to head again, and we'll see if they can keep it clean. Both of them super fast last time out in Q2. What can they do here at the start of
You
Q3?
have to imagine that the two of them sitting next to each other have discussed that with a grid formation like this, they will have to try and split the strategy. One of them might have to try and drag someone else into the Joker with them, and then you've got two trains going around the track. I wonder if that's what they've planned, because they're sitting right next to each other. I presume they've put their heads together.
Coates on the inside. I wonder if Max will get a better start this time. I say a lot of these guys use second gear off the start, and they modify the gear ratios anyway, the final drive, all the different gear ratios. Sometimes you bring them down if a track doesn't have a long straight. Take them up for somewhere like Canada if you want to get a bit more top end. If you've played the game a lot, you know you can be on the limiter at Canada for quite a while if you get the exit right onto the straight. Here we go. This is all about the entry, though, to turn one. Oh, brilliant start by Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen. Matvey Frashkin absolutely left at the line. You're sitting in the box seat to watch Timmy with the whole shot. Kevin Hansen behind, and Matvey's decided to follow them. I wonder where Max Coates will go. Max is going with them as well. So a tardy start there, Neil, for Matvey and for Max. Both those guys are a long way behind Timmy and Kevin off the line. But Matvey's actually done well to close back up to them on this first lap.
Yeah, that was an odd one. I don't know if there was any lag for the players in the game, but you're holding that revs up and the handbrake on, and all you have to do is just drop the handbrake and you're off the line like a rocket. So it did look like the Hansen brothers got their timing exactly right as the lights went green, and the other two maybe didn't.
Kevin Hansen through turn one in the background. You're looking at the kind of the rear view mirror camera. I have to say I love that camera angle. If we could get that in real world rallycross, it'd be great. Max Coates dropping into the Joker lap in the background. Kevin Hansen at 0.2 of a second behind. But I suppose the nice thing here, Neil, is that Timmy knows Kevin won't do anything stupid. If it was anybody else, if they saw even the tiniest of gaps, they might go for it. Kevin won't do that because these guys are so experienced. They know it's about time. And although Kevin will be annoyed he's been beaten to turn one, he's not, well, just as I say, not to do anything stupid, he goes in really hot into the hairpin. Proper commentator's
Well, I was going to say, what I was going to say was that if you're going to want to do it ever against your brother, this is the time to do it when it's virtual. He's not going to want to do it when the cars are expensive to fix and mum and dad are going to tell you off. You want to do it in a game, and he did.
I must admit, I'm really keen to see what might happen between the two of them. I'll be honest, I would love to see Kevin Hansen and Timmy Hansen in different teams. It would be great to see them in two different top teams, because obviously being brothers and being in the same team, they're always going to compete together in a way which is best for the team. And that paid off in huge style last year, taking the title. Brilliant job. But I'd love to see them in separate teams. It would be a very interesting dynamic if, the team manager was saying to Kevin, you've got to beat Kevin, you've got to beat Timmy, get stuck in, just go for it. What do you think would happen? There's Timmy Hansen now just in front of his brother Kevin. It'd be fascinating, wouldn't it, Neil?
Definitely, yeah, that's kind of one of those, and I'm sure, it's every possibility it will happen during their careers, and we will see it at some point, but for now, it's very much a family business, with, legendary parents in the sport of rallycross.
Yeah, absolutely. Timmy Hansen going to take this. What's the time going to be? 2:29, I reckon, for Timmy Hansen. Takes the headset off. Kevin Hansen got second. For Rashkin comes round now. We're going to see 2:29.6. Hansen's gone a tenth faster than he went last time. So Timmy Hansen with a 2:29.6 has laid down a hell of a benchmark there. That's the quickest time of the weekend, beating his own time from the previous second by just 1/10 of a second. I'm calling that. If anybody beats him, I'll be staggered. But we have still got, of course, the guy who beat him last time out, Tom Blomqvist, to come later on. And we know as well that the Paye brothers are quick. So can any of them take the fight to Timmy Hansen? Sivert Svardal, he won Q1. Maybe he can do it. Tamara Molinaro isn't here, I'm afraid. Henrik Krogstad. And then Jonathan Paye. Krogstad, with some brilliant results, will be looking to move further up the grid. But Jonathan Paye is very fast indeed. So Paye, I suppose here, Paye and Krogstad are pretty, three threats then, Neil, I reckon, to Timmy in this one.
Yeah, and, if they're all quick, and keep it clean, then this could be an extremely quick race. Q3 race 2 is looking like it could challenge the Timmy's fastest time so far if they all pull each other along.
Here we go then. Svardal on the inside. Well, there you go. That's the lobby, if you're wondering. That's where the drivers queue up. If you've played online, you'll be familiar with that site anyway. The low rumble of the Peugeot 208. Waiting for the ready to race light to come on. We're with Jonathan Pye. Needs a good start here to get round the outside of Krogstad down at turn 1, but Krogstad will be quick on the lights as well. It's a very even start across the grid. Pye is going to go wide. Is he going to back it up and come underneath them? He is. Very good tactics, but there's no room because Svardal was in his way. I think Pye was hoping to make the undercut and go Joker straight away. Krogstad's gone Joker, and Jonathan Pye now is right in behind Sivert Svardal. Neil, you could see him teeing it up, and just it didn't quite come up. Svardal was in the way where he wanted to whole shot him around the outside.
You know, you make your plan, you go for your move, and another car just gets in your way.
Punched in the face in turn 1. Pretty standard rallycross business. Here we go. So through the last corner, Svardal leading. Pye wants the gap behind 1 second. So Svardal's quick enough for Pye to do what he wants to do here. He's got 8 tenths over Krogstad. He's going to go Joker. He's in really hot in the background. Oh, in towards the apex on the left and on the right. Going to merge side by side with Krogstad. Looks up the inside. Can't quite make that stick, though. Not enough room. Krogstad holds on by an absolutely tiny margin. And now Pye, who had a second of clear air between himself and Svardal, has joked. I think nearly would have hoped to come out in front of Krogstad. I mean, because he had that 1 second of clear track where maybe if he'd stayed out another lap, he might have got himself another 10th on the other end. Maybe Krogstad would have taken it off him. These guys are all fast.
We have seen some very dramatic merges at that Joker merge in the past in real Julius, and that was almost one. But he did have to he got the Joker absolutely perfect, but then had to slam on the brakes to make sure he didn't get collected in the back. So yes, he would have been slowed down. He would have liked to have gone on another lap maybe to come out in front.
Sivert Svardal, the only driver not to have Joker, and with 2.1 seconds, he's actually got enough to do it. Look at the inputs, bottom right of your screen. You can see he's really chucking the car around into the hairpin now. He's got to keep this super tight if he wants to hold off Krogstad and Pye. Watch him take the curb on the right now, just enough, and now straight line into the Joker. Maybe a little bit of handbrake. I don't think he used handbrake. I think it was tidy onto the apex on the left and on the right. It's easily enough. Comes out in front of Krogstad. Oh, a bit too much curb on the left, but holds on to it right out to the Armco. All the way across and then into the left-hand side. Sivert Svardal chasing down the time of Timmy Hansen. 2:29.6 is what it is. Watch the clock top left and try and judge it for yourselves. He crosses the line. We'll have the times when the final car crosses over it. Here we go into the hairpin. No, it's not going to be enough. So Svardal with a great drive. Not enough to beat Timmy Hansen, though. Takes the car out to the outside for the fastest exit from the corner. And it's Sivert Svardal with a 2:20. It is 2:29.1. It is enough. So the clock at the top of the screen, 2:29.1. Sivert Svardal's just gone half a second faster. Maybe I was looking at the wrong thing, but 2:29.1. Absolutely brilliant drive, Neil. That's incredible.
Yeah, as I'd said before, you know, the chance for them to, all three of them quick, stay out of each other's way, this could be a really quick race, and it's proven to be so. Yes, that is a brilliant time. You know, and his lap times are up there with the sim racing best as well on the leaderboard globally.
Absolutely fantastic. So fastest time of the weekend after I said I didn't think Timmy Hansen would be beaten. He's been beaten soundly by Sivert Svardal. Fabien Pye on pole for this next one, then Alex Day, fail race, Marius Bermengrud and Tom Blomqvist, the winner from our last event in Norway. Bermengrud, I'll be surprised if we see him on the grid. We haven't seen him on the grid so far. Once we get down, we'll be able to confirm that. Blomqvist, again, now needs a good start from the outside. I wonder if he'll use similar tactics to Pye in the last race and see if he can get the undercut. Of course, we saw Alex Day with a great reaction to a changing strategy in his race in the previous session. He went Joker.
He's been putting a lot of time in live streaming his practice, so he's learning the tricks of rallycross. And you can see him evolve, race on race once he's in with experienced rallycross drivers.
So Fabien Pye will be on the pole. There he is, right-hand side of your screen. Tom Blomqvist in the black Peugeot on the outside, all black. Some of the drivers, of course, have contracts with other manufacturers or other sponsors, so choose to run a plain livery in the game, no problem at all. Dirt Rally 2.0, if you're wondering, by the fantastic Codemasters. Here we go, ready to race light, about to go out, looking for the green. You're with Alex Day. Can he get a good start? Not as good as Blomqvist. Blomqvist absolutely nailed it off the line. Going to shut the door surely into turn one. He wasn't sure if anybody was there or not. Alex Day backs up high A2. Nobody took the opportunity to go around the outside again. I thought they might, but they didn't this time. So Blomqvist then, now with clear track in front of him, Neil, he could be a threat, but he's got to be perfect if he wants to beat Svardal.
Yeah, having watched him streaming, he has been putting in a lot of practice from where he lives at the moment in New Zealand, but he really has got an opportunity to make this an exhibition, just like a practice session, 3 clean laps and a good joker, and check the time screens to match his absolute best.
Blomqvist backing it into the first corner. Alex Day goes joker on the second lap, so Fail Race has gone into the joker on the second lap. It's tidy, straight back out behind Fabien Payet. Obviously feeling he couldn't do anything with Blomqvist at that time. There is Fabien Payet. He's got his headset on. You can see in his gloves as well. Doesn't seem to be in a full racing seat. I wonder if he's got it set up, the old sim set up on a table there. But whatever he's done, it's effective. Very effective indeed. And I say, we know how quick him and his brother have been. Into the hairpin. Commentary box is normally up next to that grandstand in the background. It's all very, very accurate indeed. Only missing is things like wood-fired hot tubs, the magic burnout, which is about a mile down Happy Street. Happy Street would be a great bit of the game, but it would be a bit more like The Last of Us than Dirt Rally 2.0 if you head up there at one time of night. Yeah, it's crazy up there, but it's good fun. It is good fun. Get yourselves out to Hollywood sometime. Not this year, I'm afraid. Blomqvist leading Fabien Payet 2.8 seconds behind Alex Day. And he's off. Fabien Payet's dropped it. Alex Day moves up a place into P2. Payet dropped it on the brakes, I think, in the quick right-hander. Blomqvist into the joker. He's tidy in towards the apex on the left and on the right, but it clips the barrier. We've seen people do that as well. He's lucky to get away with that. That can flip the car right the way around the other way, but he holds on. Blomqvist around the left-hander, down the hill, aiming for the time then. This is a 2:29.1. I said last time I think it was a 2:26. It isn't. It's a 2:29.1, and this is going to be really close. Tom Blomqvist, looking for fastest time of the weekend. Going to do it too. 2:27. I think that's a 2:27. Alex Day comes across the line in second. How far back's Payet after that mistake in the gravel trap? Over the line. 2:27.9 for Tom Blomqvist. Well, I'm really sorry, Timmy Hansen. I absolutely cursed you in this one because I called it after race one when he set the fastest time of the weekend, and he's been beaten twice in a row. And a 2:27.9 means that Blomqvist, again, has been flying under the radar as he did in Norway, and is absolutely a threat for the top of this table. We've got one race left to go in Q3. Tessa Wittek on the pole, then it's Hayden Padden, Martin Enland unlikely to be on the grid, I think, and Rokas Bachuska on the outside.
Wow, Tom Blomqvist. That was extraordinary. And, he was putting in times in the low 36s, down almost into the 35s, which is, first page of global leaderboard stuff there. Really impressive.
Very impressive indeed. Right, waiting to get the cars into the pre-grid from the lobby. Just checking WhatsApp and Twitter. We've got somebody watching over in the States who wanted to say hello. That is Jeremy Noyes saying hello from across the pond in Vermont, which of course is where Vermont Sportscars is based, who run the Super program. So great stuff. Somebody else saying get the dog on screen. I will if he's still here. He might have left by the end of the session. We'll see. Bachuska on the pole. Going to need a good start from here because you can carry more speed around the outside. He's got Padden and Wittek. I think Bachuska will take the start here. More experience than the other guys. Brilliant start. Going to move straight across to the outside. Absolutely destroyed them off the start. Oh, there we go. And talking about being absolutely destroyed, I'm afraid Tessa Wittek has been properly fired off into the distance, into a different postcode there by Hayden Padden in turn one. I'm sure it wasn't on purpose, but Padden goes joker, going to get more contact. Tessa Wittek going to give it back maybe. Gets into the side door, and she has to back out because of the arm cut. That's a shame. I was kind of thinking there might be a bit of retribution there. big cut on the inside. She'll be hearing Neil Cole in her ears about now saying you're under investigation, Neil, won't she?
But if she can hear it over the red mist that will have descended on her.
Yeah.
Because when
Livid.
that happens to you in the game, you're so livid. And now you've got to just keep your head and try and get it back.
You can see she's telling her, look bottom right, you can see she's having a good talking to herself, shaking her head. It's not Tessa's fault, you know. Hayden, I'm afraid, I suspect Hayden might get a penalty for that. I don't know. I'd want to see it again before I sort of, you know, said, okay, you're a very bad man. But he did. Tessa was off a long way. So Baciuska then, with this one all to himself out front, got an interesting message coming from PJ Tierney, who of course works at Codemasters. He's now interested to point out that regarding sim rigs, fail race, Alex Day doing the Esports Series with a 6-year-old Xbox 360 controller. So he said basically it's the driver that makes the car go fast, not the controller and the wheel. And I think that's a really important thing to mention because, Neil, there are some very, very expensive rigs out there at the minute.
Yeah, and I think Ruckus Baciuska's got one of them and Tess is in a VR headset. So there's a huge difference across this whole field of 16 drivers. One's on a 6-year-old Xbox controller and still mixing it up with the very best. So yes, it's about the skills and putting in the practice times.
We might get another look at Baciuska's on board in a moment, but if you look, he's got the wraparound screen. So he's got 3 screens. So the central one in front of you and then left and right, which basically gives you the kind of around 90 to 100 degrees of vision, clips the barrier just slightly, so you can just look left and right a little bit. It's not what you get if you wear a VR headset, but Hansons are using a wide screen which has got a curve in it, which again gives you that little bit of sideways vision. That's one of the problems with sim racing, is you're very much up looking forward if you've only got a one-screen setup. Baciuska aiming for the time of Tom Blomqvist, 2:27. You can see he's not going to get that. It's going to be quick though. It's going to be close to 2:30. Looking at 2:30.5. You're on board with Hayden Padden. Will he get a penalty or not? And then Tessa Whittack, who'll be coming ready. Yeah, Tessa's a fair way back down the track. I put through with Tessa there. That was not her fault, to say the least.
It's interesting that Ruckus Baciuska's times is about half a second. His best lap time was half a second slower than Blomqvist's.
So it's a 2:30.532, 2 minutes 30.532 for Baciuska. And it is a good time, but Blomqvist is the winner. I'm going to get my highlighter pen out and give it a quick going over that. 2:27.9.
That doesn't look like a highlighter pen. That looks like a dog.
It's Yogi. Here he is. How's it going?
Hello, Yogi.
What do you think?
What does he think about the Joker strategies?
Well, he slept the entire way through Q1, 2, and 3, despite me shouting in the office. I say, if my wife was here, he would definitely. He's looking out there because that's the drive, and he's waiting for her to come home. Oh, there we go. Look, straight down the lens. Good lad. That's what we need. So yeah, he's been fast asleep next to me here. So yeah, there you go.
Has he been fastest asleep?
Well, maybe. He's definitely the most asleep person in this house right now. You know, I'm trying very hard. It's yeah, you know, so it's pretty windy here. Windy there, Neil?
Windy, rain showers with the chance of thunderstorms later. That was the weather. Now back to you.
Scorchio. It's been here for the last few days.
I'm like Brick in Anchorman. Where are my legs? I love lamp.
So I'm sure we'll have some replays for you from Q3 in just a moment. Another yawn from the highly interested dog. Thanks, mate. Good to know you appreciate my work. Yeah, we've got one more qualifying session to go to find out who's going to make it through to the semi-finals and the final. And then, of course, we've got the esports coming up as well. Remember, for the last hour, we'll be having a few TV stations joining us, and we're going through semi-finals for esports and for our pro drivers, and then onto the finals as well. We've got one round left, of course. Just a bit of a heads up as well. The final round of the esports series has been moved forward a week. So Cape Town, you'll now be able to catch on July the 12th. And the reason for that is that we want to get a few of our top drivers who are not available the following weekend. We want to get them in. So the final round of esports, Cape Town, will now be July the 12th.
Shall we speak to one of our drivers?
Sounds good to me.
Is Max
Who have we got? Max
Hello,
Coates. Max. Hey! Hello, Max.
All right, thanks. You all right?
Good. Yeah, really good. Thanks, mate. So I mentioned last week, I don't know if you were watching, of course, you didn't take part last week. I know you had a few technical issues, but you were actually part of the World RX TV team, weren't you, for a year, coming and mounting onboard cameras for us. And now you're out there in the game smashing them off in exactly the style that you used to not be very happy about.
Yeah, I remember one coming off actually at Holyers, but it is weird to like actually be on the grid with Timmy and Kevin when I used to strap cameras in their car. They're probably looking at me on the Zoom call thinking, I remember that kid. He was the one who came in my car 5 seconds before we went out. So
Max,
yeah,
we can make dreams come true.
To be on. Yeah, it's nice to be racing them.
Who's that next to you? Have you got a spotter over your left shoulder?
Yeah, this is Dad. He used to do rallycross back in the day. It's kind of what started it all. So that's why I'm so keen to have a go, really.
Well, there's a lot of it about what with Tom and the Hansons and Fabien Paillet and his brother. There's sort of the family lineage of rallycross is quite important.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody who's like used to watch rallycross back in 90s. Dad had a Tetley T and Fujifilm car, so like British rallycross fans might kind of remember that in the Vauxhall Novas. So I've grown up watching rallycross as a kid, and that's really what inspired me to get involved in my own motorsport. So yeah, it's cool to be doing this and kind of joining in real life.
Now, Max, you were a front runner last year in Renault Clios, and you're supposed to be doing BMWs this year when a BMW Mini, when the series gets back underway, British touring cars in this country. But what we all want to know is, when are you going to bin off the roundy stuff and come and do some rallycross?
I had a go last year in the RX buggies and loved it. I was just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. But yeah, I'd love to have a go. There keeps being the odd talk of like, oh, come and have a look at this, come and have a do at this. But yeah, at some point I'd love to jump in a supercar and see what I can do.
Fantastic, mate. Well, we'll look forward to that. Max, best of luck in Q4, mate, and we'll see you in the semis and the final, I'm sure.
Fingers crossed. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Max.
Great to speak to Max Coates. Here are the standings after Q3. Timmy Hansen at the top of the table. Sievert Svardal into P2. Tom Blomqvist looking third place. And you can see what a difference a session win makes, putting you right at the top of the table. Kevin Hansen, Jonathan Paillet, Bachuska, Krogstad and Padden are your top 8. Remember, the top 10 go through to the semi-finals at the minute. That's Failrace and Fabien Paillet. But you can see that Max Coates and Matvey Farashkin are right there. So Max really needs a good run in this one to try and get through to the semi. So come on, Max, big push. Now we've inspired you with an interview. Hopefully we're going to see a TQ run from him. Okay, then on to the final qualifying session. Here we go. Okay, then Q4 race 1. And this is actually going to be, I think this is going to be a 2-horse race, because Tamara Molinaro and Martin Enland haven't shown up so far today. So we've got Kevin Hansen and Matvey Farashkin in this. Hopefully we can get down to the grid fairly swiftly with those two. We can indeed. So Farashkin was pretty quick last time out. I think you'd put your money on Kevin, and that's because he's been very, very impressive in these esports events. But Matvey certainly getting quicker and quicker. Last time out was very close to the pace. Loading the cars up on the handbrake. The ready to race light is on. When the green comes, you release the handbrake and fire the car off the line. Great start by Kevin Hansen. Farashkin goes out wide. They're going to try and carry him on speed through turn 1. Kevin Hansen runs deep. Farashkin going to go Joker lap 1 around the outside in turn 1. Oh, bit of contact. Can't quite make it work. I wonder if a Joker might have been a better strategy, but he tried the move around the outside. That would have been amazing, nearly pulled it off.
Yeah, he had obviously committed early that he wasn't going to Joker, and he should really have changed his mind at the last second, because that has slowed him down. Just bouncing slightly off the rear quarter of Hansen's Peugeot has, hampered his first lap a little bit and his overall speed, and now he will have to chase Kevin for the next 4 laps.
Learn a lot. And it's a good chance to go and follow somebody.
Whoa! That was a classic game glitch, I think. There it looked like a massive end over end flip.
having some interesting problems, isn't he? There definitely, maybe a glitch, maybe a connection issue. You can hear him on the limiter, so he's going down an extra gear everywhere.
He's put in an almost a 36 dead, Matvey Farashkin, which is a very quick lap time. But maybe that was part of the lap that glitched, I guess. So Kevin's times so far have all been in the 2:30s. He hasn't gone down below the 2:30s yet. Is this his chance with a clean run to put it below the 2:30s into the 2:39s maybe?
I mean, that 2:27.9 by Blomqvist is amazing, isn't it? I mean, that, you know, I was pretty impressed, to be honest, when Svardal went half a second quicker than Timmy. But for Blomqvist to do the 2:27.9, I'd be interested to see where that would be on the world leaderboard in terms of times, because that's epic. Kevin Hansen into the Joker on his final lap, and we'll get a better idea of how close he is to those top times. Of course, this is the first race of the last session. Let's see how close he is to those top times at the end of this lap.
36.4 is still 4/10 slower.
Here we
than
go.
Tom.
Up and over the jump. I don't think he's quite close enough. No, 2:27 now. So he's going to get a 2:29, is he? Yeah, 2:29.5, I think, for Kevin Hansen. Frashkin's coming around for a 2:33. 2:29.5, bang on the money. So 2:29. Thank you, Neil. These small victories, isn't it? 2:29.575 is what Kevin Hansen has got in this. That's a good time, but I say we have seen. Okay, no, that's an excellent time. It's faster than Timmy Hansen went in Q3 when we thought he was on for the fastest time of the weekend. It's just the fact that Blomqvist has gone quicker. So actually, that's pretty much the second fastest time of the weekend. But it's just that Blomqvist has moved the goalposts big time with his time from Q3.
And Sivert Svardal's time in the last qualifying was 2:29.15. So, I mean, he has previously gone quicker than that. Will he go quicker again in this one, which should be another 3-car race?
Yeah, Berman Good will be missing from this. So you've got Paye on pole, and then Sivert Svardal and Rokas Bachuska. You saw Bachuska with a great start last time, but he's not going to have it all his own way against Svardal and Paye, that's for sure. Interested to see if Svardal can get out front, or what his tactics will be if he loses the start. You know, so expect a pretty exciting, aggressive start here. See if everybody's sensible or not. The dog's left the room, by the way, if you're wondering. Finally, enough.
I'm just watching some pigeons fighting outside. You know,
it's like a wildlife show, isn't it, Neil? Really, I'm surprised we haven't had Blue Planet on the phone or something.
Welcome to Springwatch.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, here we go. Fabien Paye, Sivert Svardal and Rokas Bachuska.
Now, don't forget, Rokas was absolutely the rookie of the year last year. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in this real Megane this year when we get going for real in Hollius in August.
Ready to race light, looking for the green. What can Svardal do in the middle of the 3 cars? He can drop backwards, that's what he can do. Bachuska with a great start. Svardal straight out the back door. So Sivert Svardal, quick as you like, and changed his mind though, Neil. Like, he changed his mind, and I know he hasn't lost too much time, but we're talking tenths. And it's a no-go for me, particularly when you've had a bad start. That wasn't such an on-the-fly decision because he'd already lost the start. So that's a mistake for me from Svardal.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be sort of setting the same kind of time that he set in Q3, because you know how much speed you can carry into the Joker if you commit early. Because you're coming out of turn 1 already knowing you can carry a little bit more speed all the way to the Joker. So yes, slight misjudgment there from Sivert.
Great to see when you look at the drivers in the cars, you can actually see the driver lean forward in the belts when they hit the brake and then sit back in the seat when they accelerate. And although a racing harness holds you extraordinarily tight in the car, you feel those forces. It's just incredibly hard when you're jumping on the brakes and on the gas. It really does fling you around in the car. Bachuska with an 0.8 of a second lead over Paye. Sivert Svardal then, he's right behind you, another 0.8 back. So Svardal is right there. He could get Paye. I mean, he could get... The thing is, Svardal's fast enough potentially to get Bachuska and Paye, but the point is... okay, and they both go Joker now, so they've both gone Joker this time round. Bachuska going to come out just in front of Svardal. Good move by Bachuska, right up on the inside of the curbs there. Into the velodrome with Svardal close behind. So Svardal changing his mind. The tactics, Neil, were good. It just, could he have taken another 2/10 if he hadn't braked for turn 1 and just gone directly to the Joker?
Yeah, he's basically forced Bachuska to take a Joker on lap 3 rather than lap 4 to cover off the win of this race. Yeah, so I think Svardal will be kicking himself slightly. He could have been in front of that again.
Over the crest, Svardal showing himself big in the mirrors to Baciuska, but he can't find a gap at the moment. He will look for one in the last corner if he can. If you can get a good exit out of Velodrome, it can set you up. Certainly then it's the right-hander over the jump. He could not be closer. Down the hill now, close to the Armco. Flick it in on the gas. Run the curve just a little bit. Up and over the jump. He goes out wide, looking for the inside line on the exit. Sievert Svardal making a pass in the final corner. Svardal's going to take it. Epic pass on the last corner. Sievert Svardal with a 2:30.6. If he hadn't changed his mind there, he might have gone just a tiny bit quicker. But a 2:30.6, Baciuska and Paye super close behind.
I think we saw Rokas Baciuska throwing his headset down because he was forced wide over the line with
Yeah,
that overtake.
gutted.
He was furious.
Clean move, though. Definitely a clean move. So on this one, then Wittek on the inside, then Padden, Jonathan Paye and Timmy Hansen. We're hoping to get these races through as quick as we can now as we approach the final hour of racing from 3 till 4 UK time. That's 4 till 5, I think, in the rest of Europe.
Correct.
Which means it's beer o'clock for you lot. Me and Neil will have to wait till the end of the show. But Tessa Wittek on the inside. Come on then, Tessa and Hayden. Oh, they can go at it again in turn one and see whether or not we can have another little shunt. I didn't see if Padden got a penalty or not. Perhaps not. I'm assuming not from that last time out. They're just saying first corner mishap. Fair enough. He did get a penalty, I'm hearing from race control. So there you go. Wrong again.
10-second penalty, yes, for Hayden Padden for obviously excessive use of force.
Right. Here we go. Off the line. Good start, Jonathan Paye. Timmy Hansen trying to go around the outside, door to door. Those two, Hansen holds on, and it's Padden. Padden goes with them, and again Wittek follows them. So they've all gone standard lap, and I might have just risked a joker there, I think, Neil. I can understand Timmy not going because obviously he's gone for whole shot, hasn't he, in standard lap. But if I were Padden or Wittek again, I might. But the thing is as well, there is so much to be gained by following guys like Hansen and Paye. And that's real life and in the game. You know, that I've followed someone before in the game. I'm like, where the hell is he getting that pace from through that corner? And then you follow them and you just see it's a wheel off here and a wheel off there and a gear higher, and you find a way through. Paye desperately trying to find a way past Timmy. I wonder if he's going to go joker this time. He doesn't. He's looking quicker. Paye looking up the inside of Timmy Hansen, trying to get alongside. Is he alongside him at the curbs? Timmy gives him a little bit of room at the turn. He flicks the car one way and then the other. Hansen holding on over the crest. Jonathan Paye piling the pressure on. Hayden Padden going with them at Neil. This is going to be hurting their times.
Not only that, but Jonathan Paye has to make a decision because he could, if he is quicker, joker, but then that will bring him out either just in the dust of Hayden Padden or just in front of him. But either way, it's a risk if he jokers now.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got his brother spotting for him. He's made a slight mistake there and just given Timmy Hansen a couple of car lengths. Is he going to go joker this time? He does. He goes in hot. Maybe has to adjust his line a tiny bit to avoid Timmy. Can he get out in front of Hayden? Just maybe. Oh, Hayden's so close to the back. Up on the bank on the left-hand side. Jonathan Paye with a great joker lap. Now he's got to do the perfect lap. He's got to chase Timmy Hansen really hard.
Yeah, that was it wasn't the best joker, was it? And he almost collected Timmy on the way in, and now he's got to chase him down on the way out. Now, clear air for Timmy Hansen. No one in his mirrors. He's got to joker this lap. Got to get it right.
Taking the 10th out of him again. He's up 1.4. Hansen into the joker. Come out in front of Jonathan Paye. So Timmy Hansen, great job tactics-wise. Just holds on from Jonathan Paye. Just got to keep it together for the rest of this lap. Not sure how quick it's going to be. Kevin Hansen with that 2:29.575 was in a two-horse race, and he didn't really get bothered in it. So I think Kevin will be quick. If Timmy's pulled it out of the bag from including this battle, then he's done a brilliant job in this one. It is going to be very close indeed. Timmy Hansen racing for the line. 2:29.7. I reckon he's 2/10 off his brother. Tessa Wittek just with a couple of corners still to complete. Padden gets third place. Here comes Tessa now. 2:29.7 it was, so it's a 2:29.730 for Timmy Hansen, and that is actually really good considering he had that little race with Paye. Obviously didn't hold each other up enough, But at the minute, Kevin Hansen is on for the win. If Kevin Hansen wins this session, we'll have had 4 different winners in the 4 qualifying sessions. Max Coates on the inside, trying to make it through to the semi-finals. We spoke to him earlier. Then it's Alex Day, Tom Blomqvist, and Henrik Krogstad. Blomqvist, of course, was super quick in the previous session. Henrik Krogstad's been recovering all the way from Q1. Alex Day's been impressive for me in terms of both his driving and his tactics, his rallycross ability to pick a joker at the right time. And Max Coates, his dad, the rallycross driver, sitting next to him at home. Max, eager to get back to real action, as we are as well. Hollius, the first round of the real FIA World Rallycross Championship in just a few weeks' time. Super excited to see all the drivers in their new cars. See who's going to be quick. See who's going to be challenging for that title. You're behind Blomqvist here. Ready to race light comes on. Looking for a fantastic start. Try and get the whole shot. And he doesn't get it. It's a brilliant start by Henrik Krogstad on the outside, unless he's jumped it, because Blomqvist is a fair way back. Blomqvist's got Alex Day up his inside. Where's he going to go? Go standard lap. So it's Krogstad from Blomqvist. In the background, 2 cars. So yeah, both Alex Day and Max Coates have gone joker on this one. So Max now really needs to hang on to the back of Alex Day, see if he can match his lap time, see if he can drag his way into the semi-finals. But it's Krogstad from Blomqvist, and you can see the gap. It's 0.086, a little bit more from that after the exit of Velodrome. Blomqvist really close behind Krogstad.
Yeah, that was a really odd disparity at the start, wasn't it, Andrew? That they such a huge difference between start times.
Yeah, definitely. Krogstad, I was saying, unless Krogstad jumped it, it's either a glitch, maybe Krogstad jumped it, but yeah, for me, there was a massive difference between them. Through the left-hander up at Velodrome, heading down now towards the gravel section down the hill, then it's the right up and over the jump. Blomqvist doesn't seem able to make any headway into Krogstad's time. It's not really that unexpected. So this is about whether or not Krogstad then can beat Kevin Hansen's time. Kevin Hansen, the team boss of Yellow Squad, is on a 229.575. So Krogstad aiming to beat his team boss. Into the joker lap goes Tom Blomqvist. So Blomqvist has gone joker on this one. That leaves Krogstad out, wondering whether or not Blomqvist is going to be able to do enough. He dropped back from 0.80 to 0.3 behind. So just over 2/10 it was, I think, in between them. Blomqvist trying to close. He's now 0.8, so he's gone back another 5/10, so 0.8 of a second. This one absolutely crucial. Krogstad's run it out onto the dirt, flicks the car into the left-hander. Coming round for the joker lap. He's going to go right now, watching for Blomqvist at the merge. Here we go. Krogstad into the curb on the right-hand side of the track. He'll run the car deep now across the apex. Got to get it in towards that left-hand barrier. It's perfect on the way in. Where's Blomqvist? There he is. Taps the barrier. Just hold on. Brilliant job by Krogstad.
Well, his lap before that was 36.1, which is one of the quickest laps we've seen all day. That's a very good time, very quick joker, and a very good win coming up for Krogstad.
Krogstad over the top. Time is at 29.5. No, I think Krogstad 28.2. Henrik Krogstad has taken the fourth qualifying session. Ah, no, okay, he hasn't. So there must have been a glitch then, surely. 227.9 for Blomqvist. Not sure what's happened there, but I think a glitch, Neil, which is why he was off the line before the other drivers. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't quite work that out, because what we saw from our sort of passenger spectator view, as it's called in the game, was Krogstad. So Tom, at that time, they must have been racing different races, if you see what I mean.
Yeah,
their
basically,
own race counted differently.
Slightly, yeah, they're slightly offset, basically. It looks like they may have had a glitch there. We'll get race control to confirm it for us in a moment. So I think we are fast heading towards being joined by quite a few major TV stations around the world for the last hour. We're having some, I know you guys are all watching online on the stream, but we have some viewers joining us as well for the final hour of action here from Hollius, which we are really looking forward to. Tom Blomqvist with the win in 2 sessions. Not sure where that's going to see. We're going to be able to see standings. I don't think we are we? We're going to have to wait Oh, okay. We might be able to see the standings if we've got time before we start our last hour of racing. If not, then we'll see them just before we get stuck in. Here we go. Blomqvist takes the TQ with the win by 1 point. So 2 wins in Q3 and Q4. Tom Blomqvist is on the pole. Then it's Timmy Hansen, Svardal, Hansen, Paye, Krogstad, Bachuska, and Hayden Padden are your top 8. Fail Race and Fabian Paye have made the cut. So this time, Farashkin, Coates and Whittock haven't made it. Thank you very much to them for taking part. Stay with us. Semi-finals and finals are coming up next. We are approaching the final stages of round 3 of the FA World Rallycross Championships official esports series, and we're at an absolute classic this weekend. We're at Hollius. If you're not familiar with Rallycross, that's known to Rallycross fans around the world as the Magic Weekend. It's normally a massive party along a road called Happy Street, which is pretty fitting for the state that people are in down there. It's a wonderful spectacle, a brilliant event. There's like 300 people live in the village of Hollius, and then 30,000 people turn up to support what, in my opinion, is the best of the FIA's World Championships, the World Rallycross Championship. We're going to be kicking off the real-life World Rallycross Championship from Sweden in just a few weeks' time. We can't wait to get that underway. But in the meantime, we've been racing esports. And of course, if you've missed any of the action, we started the season at Abu Dhabi. We then moved on to Norway in Hell, and we're racing this weekend at Sweden before finishing July the 12th at Cape Town. My name's Andrew Coley. I normally commentate the real-life World Rallycross Championship. Neil Cole is joining me as always. And Neil, we've been doing some qualifying online, and we've seen some brilliant racing, which suggests that today's semi-finals and finals for both the pros and the esports is going to be super close.
Yeah, it's been dynamite, hasn't it? There's been some great action, some great times that would be up there in the kind of world leaderboards for sim racers from our pro drivers racing against each other at Hollius, which is such a brilliant, dramatic, classic rallycross circuit right from the very birth of rallycross in the 70s.
Yeah, it's a brilliant track. It's a really committed track. There's places to overtake. The Joker lap is super close in terms of lap time to the standard lap. Of course, the Joker lap is the alternative lap, which every driver has to take once in each of their races. You're about to see the semi-finals and the finals. We've got 10 drivers lined up for you from the real world. These guys, some of them are the very best drivers from the real World Rallycross Championship. And then we've got some guests coming in from other championships as well. And then we've got 10 of the very best sim sport racers out there who'll be taking part in their own competition. And in fact, we found that the pro drivers are pretty close to the sim racing drivers in terms of lap time. A couple of our pros are missing. Shane van Gisbergen is back on duty with Australian V8s this weekend. We're hoping he might be able to join us for the final round from Cape Town. But Neil, brilliant racing so far, and I say really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's all open, isn't it? Because the Gears has been the surprise package since we started with our pre-series events. He was amazing in Montalegre, just out of the blocks, quick in Rallycross, the Kiwi, and then suddenly, you know, he's up there mixing it with Tom Blomqvist and our actual real life champion Timmy Hansen at the very top of the. So the absence of Shane van Gisbergen actually means the championship has suddenly opened up. By the end of the next hour, we should come away with a new esports series leader, which is very exciting for the penultimate round of the series.
Yeah, it was looking good for Timmy Hansen. So if you haven't joined us for qualifying online, we saw Siva Svardal won Q1, Timmy Hansen, the real World Rallycross champion, won Q2. It was then Tom Blomqvist who went just next level in Q3. And in fact, Blomqvist, who was the winner last time out of the Lonkabanen Hell in Norway, has managed to nick the TQ at the last minute. TQ being top qualifier, so he will take pole in semi-final number 1. Now, I believe we're going to be able to talk to one of our top real-life drivers. In fact, I think we've got one of the Hansen brothers lined up.
Is it Kevin? Hello, Kevin.
It is. Kevin, how are we doing? All right? We can't hear you. What's he? He's pointing. He's going to unmute himself. Muted? Oh, he's switched his camera off. He switched the mic off. He's a brilliant rallycross driver. He's absolutely terrible with technology. There you go.
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here.
How you doing, Kevin?
Tjena.
Yeah, it's Tjena. It's very good. It's very hot in Sweden. We have some thunder coming in, and we've had 32 degrees all week. So me and Timmy are sweating in the game room.
Okay, cool. And it's going well so far. How do you fancy your chances to win? Tom Blomqvist is looking mega fast again, isn't he?
Yes, for sure. You know, there is, Tom for sure has one step more than what we are able to do. There's no question about it. But he hasn't the rallycross experience and the T1 experience that me and Timmy have. So, I mean, so far we are doing good. We are P4 and P2, and Henrik P6. So I'm very proud of all our drivers, and also myself. I'm doing very well. So it's a lot of fun, and I think it's a lot better racing this week with a bit less drivers and a bit more clean grids. So I'm really enjoying it.
Kevin, we've been trying to second guess your Joker strategy, and if you and Timmy are discussing sort of when you're not in the same race, what you're going to do, helping each other out, but also when you are in the same race, give us a sense of what that's like behind the scenes.
Yes, so we are, if you're not in the same race, we jump out of the sim we have and you go over and you try to help. Because if you're not out first, you need some help for sure. So, and Kenneth and Susan is not here today. They are, enjoying their weekend. So it's just me and Timmy by ourselves, which is, a risky move by them to leave us alone. We are only able to drive normally. But
Kevin, we're
doing quite okay on the strategy.
We've got 10 seconds for you to tell the people at home what Hollis is like normally. Go.
Hollis is the second best rallycross track in the world, and it's just a roller coaster experience that is something you need to experience in your life. Cheers, guys. Enjoy the stream.
He's hit his mark perfectly. Kevin, thanks very much. Let's take a look back at some of the action from qualifying. Well, there we go. Kevin Hansen, who's just booked himself a job on the TV team for smashing a 10-second countdown with absolutely no notice whatsoever. Well done, mate. That's Max Coates in the white Mini there, British touring car support category driver here in the UK. Races Renault Clios to a very high level. His dad was a rallycross driver. Unfortunately, he had made a little mistake and was very gentlemanly not to take out the car in front. This was Timmy Hansen clipping the barriers in the Joker lap, but somehow holding on and managing to take Q2. An absolutely brilliant run by him. You're looking at Matvey Parashkin, who last year, the Russian driver, stepped up from autocross to rallycross, running with ES Motorsport in the Skoda. He's in a Peugeot 208 here for the Esports Series. And you can see with a full motion rig there being thrown around. Here's Kevin Hansen, who we spoke to just a few moments ago. The Swede competing at home virtually, and of course at home in reality. He's sitting in the workshop at Hansen Motorsport with the World Rallycross beasts just downstairs from him and his brother Timmy Hansen, the world champion. Following Matvey Farashkin down towards turn one here, you can see Kevin heading off towards the left. Look at the accuracy between these guys. Him and his brother, 1-2 through this session, smashing the lap times in and doing an absolutely brilliant job. It was looking like it was going to go Timmy's way, but as I say, look at that. This was Paye going out wide. Neil, we saw some great tactics. Didn't quite pay off for Paye there, did it? He really wanted to make the undercut and go Joker on that first lap.
Yeah, and what some of the lines that these drivers, the pro drivers, are taking, they've learnt from racing and watching some of these guys. Now, the sim racers take some extraordinary lines and incredibly sideways in this game, and we're about to get a masterclass, I would presume.
We are indeed. So on the pole for semi-final number one, we've got Johan Lundqvist, and then we've got Nigel Cross, Quinton Dell'Olmo, Lucas Mateja, and Jared Pesch. We'll try and fill you in with a little bit about these guys once we get the racing underway. So we've got, I think Lundqvist is from No Control, which is the team that also the Pies have been practicing with. Lucas Mateja was third in the invitational race in Barcelona and was also second in Abu Dhabi when he took part in the esports round. So you can expect Mateja always to be on the pace. But Quinton Dell'Olmo was the winner in Abu Dhabi. He was second last time out in Norway. He won in Portugal on the invitational. So Quinton Dell'Olmo in the middle of this grid is the danger man at the minute. He's actually the brother of the world champion who you'll see in the next race. Kilian Dell'Olmo will be coming up in the next one. So Kilian, I say, the world champion for Dirt Rally 2.0. And he's trying to take the lead of the championship off his brother, Quinton. So waiting for one of the cars to get into the grid. So the drivers go into a virtual pre-grid, which is basically a lobby, it's called in gaming terms. We're missing Jared Pesch at the minute, so we may have a connection issue for Jared Pesch. I don't know whether we're going to wait for him or whether we're going to head down to the grid, in which case Jared will miss out this week. Jared is on the outside of the grid. So when you're looking at these grids, it's as if you're standing on the grid looking back at the cars, which is why the cars are pictured as they are. So Lundqvist, who's on the left of your picture, will be on the right of the grid. It's a right-hander for the first corner at Hollius, Sweden, where we're racing today. And then the Joker lap is in the second corner. So we see lots of tactics, people making undercuts, trying to go around the outside, going super quick into turn 2. Carrying the speed into that Joker lap, and you're about to see all that unfold. We're good to go with Esports Semi-Final 1. Lundqvist, Nigel Cross, Lucas Matasia. So Matasia's in second on the grid from the looks of things. Okay, here we go. It is indeed Jared Pesch that is missing. Waiting for a green light to get our first race of the semi-final stages underway. Quinton Del Olmo on the outside. Not the greatest start, but trying to go all the way around from there. He's not going to be able to. He's in the dirt, cuts the corner big time. He might get a penalty for that. And unbelievably, all 3 of the other cars have gone Joker. So everybody else has gone Joker, led by Lucas Matasia in his familiar green livery. Matasia's gone Joker. Lundqvist runs out wide after a bit of contact over the crest. Nigel Cross has dropped down into 4th place. These guys are all on the back. The Joker lap difference is only about 7 tenths. Quinton Del Olmo had a horrible start. To be fair, he had to cut the gravel trap, Neil, so he may get an in-game penalty, but I wonder if the stewards might remove it because he didn't really have a lot of choice.
Yeah, and it was just pure luck on his part that the rest of the field went into the Joker as he had to recover from his over wide into the gravel trap. And of course, the gravel traps here aren't quite like they are in circuit races. They don't slow the car down as much to a stop. They are just something you have to overcome to get back on track. But yes, well, that played into Quinton's hands brilliantly.
The difference between a gravel trap for normal racing and rallycross cars is rallycross cars, of course, have 600 horsepower and four-wheel drive. So although that gravel trap might well stop Lewis Hamilton's F1 car, it's definitely not going to stop a World RX supercar. I've seen a few on their roof in that gravel trap before. They can stop the car, but it's unlikely when you've got four-wheel drive and all the power these guys have got. Look at the way Matasia is chucking the car around, but also look at the gap. Top right of your screen now, plus point 888. Matasia is 8 tenths, nearly 9 tenths off the back of Del Olmo. Del Olmo is desperate to try and extend that gap. Nigel Cross is piling the pressure onto Johan Lundqvist. Right behind him, can't quite make it stick. Matasia's gone, he's lost another tenth. So Quinton Del Olmo is edging out the tenths here. Neil, how many laps does he hold on for before he goes Joker? He's gone another 2 tenths up. He's gapping him. For me, might as well hold on now and go Joker really late and have a safer Joker.
Yeah, of course, if you've just joined us, these semi-finals are 6 laps. It's all 6 laps from now on. So he could easily wait till the 6th lap, the final lap, to take his Joker and just put in hammer in his best practice time style laps now and from start for the next 2 laps.
Del Olmo brothers absolutely at the top of their game in this game. 1.6 seconds now. They really are 2 of the world's leading drivers. They were both at the Autosport show earlier this year where Killian won the championship. That was with Codemasters and Motorsport Games again. Thanks as well to our other partners, Monster Energy Gaming, Gamebite and Cooper Tyres, for supporting the Esports Series in lieu of the real racing. It has been fantastic, and if you're not familiar with this game, these tracks basically are identical to the ones which you'll see in the real FIA World Rallycross Championship. You can even play with the cars of the world champions. 2.1 seconds back. Matasia
leaving his
Neil, go on.
He's left his Joker to the last lap, but look at his time. His best lap time, 36.2, is 2 tenths slower than Tom Blomqvist, who's the top qualifier in the pro drivers category. So that shows you just how good Tom Blomqvist is around a single lap. But yes, final lap Joker, throws it in sideways.
Great job by Quinton Del Olmo. Perfect Joker lap after smashing in the lap times. It's just a question of that first corner when he went across the gravel trap, whether or not he'll get a penalty in the game and whether or not the stewards will feel that he was pushed into it or not. So Quinton Del Olmo with a 2.1 second lead and just 2 corners to go. It's a brilliant performance by the Frenchman. Up and over the jump. He won the first round at Abu Dhabi. Last time he was P2 to his brother Killian. He's taken the first semi-final. Matasia is going to go through automatically, and Nigel Cross will have to wait and see if a 3:45.9 is going to be enough to see him through to the through to the final. So the fastest loser from the 2 semi-finals will go through to the final. The top 2 from each one goes through. So great job there, Quinton Del Olmo and Lucas Matasia. On to semi-final 2, Kylian Del Olmo. That's the brother we were talking about. He's the world champion of Dirt Rally 2.0, Set Esports driver. He's actually been signed up by one of the World Rallycross Championships real teams. Set Esports run Niklas Gronholm and Marcus Gronholm's team with Timur Timosyanov, the Hyundai's in the championship. John Harris, Tommy Howman, another Set driver. In fact, Clara Anderson as well. So all 3 of their drivers in this. Clara Anderson is competing as we speak in a round of the Swedish Rally Championship, Rallycross Championship, and they've got the sim rig in the paddock. So we're hoping she's not out in a real car and she's able to take part. And we've got Daniel Johansson on the outside for No Control Esports. So will Clara make it to the grid? Neil, it was super close for them, wasn't it, in terms of timings?
Yeah, as I understand it, she's been racing yesterday. She posted a 3rd, and she's made it onto the grid by the looks of it. But she's actually at this circuit racing for real, and then having to get out of the real car onto the sim rig to take her place in this semi-final. So impressive. How will it translate that adrenaline of driving this circuit for real into the virtual semi-final?
And there are, in fact, some of the real drivers who won't play the game during a race weekend because they feel that it distracts them from what they need to do. So it's interesting that she's happy to do both. You're behind Tommy Howman, who's been absolutely left at the line, so we don't know if that's a glitch or someone's jumped at the start. It's Kylian Del Olmo into the lead with Daniel Johansson close behind. Johansson almost gets collected there by John Harris, who I think went straight into the Joker lap. He did, so John Harris has gone Joker. Kylian Del Olmo, though, the world champion, somehow again just gets through turn 1 unscathed nearly. It's like he's Teflon.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? The 2 Del Olmo brothers are sort of, it's like they're buttery. They just somehow slip through trouble. And of course, it's not luck, it's skill, but I don't know how they do it. Their times are quick, their car, body control, the physics is amazing. But just also, bad luck bounces off them.
Tommy Howman, bottom right of your screen. See Tommy wearing his race suit. He did Rallycross Academy, which is a feeder series which Set Esports ran for Renault Clios, similar to the one actually that Max Coates would have raced in British touring cars, only beefed up a little bit for Rallycross action. He's very fast indeed, Tommy Howman. You can see he's in full concentration mode and full teamwear as well, which I like to see. Here he is, Howman, through the right-hander, up and over the jump, on the brakes. Look at that, flicks the car in absolutely backwards nearly. He's on the gas and away.
Yeah, we've seen this all of the series so far, is that is the way in the physics of the game. Sideways in, nose pointing at the apex, and then fully drift is the fastest way in the game. It's not always the fastest way, as we've learnt over the years with the likes of Johan Kristoffersson and Matthias Ekstrom in real life. Yeah,
they've proved certainly that the racing style, that super tidy, keeping it straight, can be quicker against the likes of Solberg. Fan favourite style of super sideways, almost Gymkhana style driving. Over the line, Kylian Del Olmo, what's his lead now? It's 1.3 over Daniel Johansson, so he's not in the clear yet, and I think he'll wait and Joker right at the end. How far back is John Harris? Far enough back, I think, not to be a pro. Over the crest in the background, Daniel Johansson's gone Joker and comes out just in front. So he's come out just in front. Tommy Howman hasn't jokered and is stuck between 2 guys who have John Harris in the red Peugeot 208, Daniel Johansson in the white Mini, and Tommy Howman in the black 208. Remember, only 1 third-place driver will go through, the faster of the 2 from the semi-finals. At the minute, that's Nigel Cross from semi-final number 1, and the top 2 otherwise from each of the semis. Kylian Del Olmo here, then, I think, will have an opportunity to drive away. So you might find Johansson, he's having to watch his mirrors a bit. Howman goes standard lap against her. Howman's going to leave it until the last lap. And there you go. In fact, Kylian Del Olmo comes out of the Joker lap into the lead. So the world champion, while we're watching Tommy Howman, the world champion has snuck off into the Joker and comes out with a 2.2 second lead on a lap to go, Neil. He's class.
And that's done exactly what we would have expected. It's going to put the 2 Del Olmo brothers at the front of the grid for the final. 2 French brothers, while we've got 2 other French brothers in the other semi-finals to come.
On board with the world champion up towards the first corner, sends the car sideways, just clips the curb. Look at that, super calm and smooth on the gas. He'll be close to the Armco. Into the Joker goes Tommy Howman. Daniel Johansson is going to go through in second place here. Howman's slotting back out, I think, behind John Harris. So it looks like he might have got him. No, I think Harris holding on. But Kylian Del Olmo, with a 2-second lead over Daniel Johansson, is going to go through to take pole. The winner last time out in Norway, the DiRT 2.0 world champion, the Set Esports driver, proving why he's been signed up by a real world rallycross team. Kylian Del Olmo wins semi-final number 2 from Daniel Johansson and John Harris. We need to see the times for John Harris. You're on board with Clara Anderson, who has done a brilliant job racing in real life at this circuit this weekend, and she's racing with us as well. Clara, thank you so much for your efforts, and to the team as well for building the sim rig in the paddock for her. John Harris with a 3:44.8 should be the man who goes through as our third place qualifier. So Kylian Del Olmo and Daniel Johansson as the 2 qualifiers, and then John Harris in the third place. Great job by him.
Yeah, so that much sought after sort of 5th spot on the final goes to John Harris. It's like a 1 second total race time quicker than Nigel, which is impressive. It's good enough.
Yeah, it is indeed. So John Harris will make it through, we think, to the outside of the grid. Championship standings were pretty close between the Del Olmo brothers. Obviously, there's got to be some needle there, hasn't there? And they must have some very good broadband if the two of them are in the same house together playing this game as they are. And also, Neil, I think it's fair to say the amount of practice you can get in when your own brother is in your own household and you guys can play against each other and you're the 2 kind of benchmark guys in the world for this game, that's a great person to be practicing with.
Also, I have to say, if you look online, if you do play this game and look at the global leaderboards, I think they've got a few different accounts as well. So they might log in as a different name and set some different lap times. They have their first account, second account, third account, but their accounts are in the top 30 in the global leaderboard. So the efforts they put in and their dedication to this and their commitment is huge.
I'll have someone check their IP addresses. There you go. There's something technical. If you don't know what that means, tweet me, and I'll get someone who does understand to explain it to you. Right, let's take a look at the standings as we are, and I think the guys can roll those in for us, and we can have a look and see where we are in terms of championship standings. So this was at the end of qualifying. Tom Blomqvist, having won Q3 and Q4, stole the TQ spot, the top qualifier spot. That means pole in semi-final 1 from Timmy Hansen. You can see he was just 1 point behind him in terms of qualifying. Those points are given out according to your race time. So if you're the fastest person in the heats, remember, they don't all get to race each other at the same time, then you get the 50 points, and that puts him at the top of the list. So odds will go to semi-final 1, and evens will go to semi-final number 2. Svartal's made it. Kevin Hansen, Jonathan Pye, Henrik Krogstad, Rokas Bachuska, Hayden Paddon's in, which is great for the New Zealander. And then we've got 2 more drivers who've made it through to the semi-finals. That's Alex Day, Fail Racer. Fail Race, he's a famous YouTuber here in the UK. Plays a lot of sim racing games online. Has been with us from the start. Thank you for his support. And Fabien Paye on his debut, along with his brother Jonathan. They've both made it through. So we've got brothers Hansen, brothers Paye. We've got the brothers Del Olmo. A great field of drivers. A lot of French people as well. So they're both the Payes and the Del Olmos, of course, doing a great job.
Explain that tie for 10th place there with 137 points is very unfortunate for Matvey Farashkin, but he goes out because it's the number of race wins or second places or third places until the tie is resolved. So although that's the decisive bubble, unfortunately, Fabien Paye's overall result placings were slightly better throughout the qualifying than Farashkin's.
Thank you, Neil. There we go. That is indeed why Paye has made the cut. So we've got 2 semi-finals coming up for you from the pro drivers. We're going to see that, Timmy Hansen, Kevin Hansen going up against the Paye brothers. The Paye's often compete in European Rallycross, which is a similar spec of car, sometimes guessing in World Rallycross 2. Almost identical. And I say these are real-life Rallycross drivers. Great to see Hayden Paddon, rally driver from the World Rally Championship, making it through to the semi-finals too, Neil. The 2 disciplines, I feel, rally and Rallycross, cross over really nicely.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it's in the name, isn't it? It's as a sport, it was invented as a way to cross over from rallying to circuit, and you get drivers coming from pure circuit racing enjoying the chance to throw it sideways on rallycross, but also rally drivers who are good on both tarmac and gravel, getting a chance to mix both those skills up in a race over a track that's less than a mile in length. So as a discipline, it's easier than sort of 3 days of recceing, then 3 days of rallying, for a full week package of rallying if you don't include testing. But rallycross is something you can do quickly, not necessarily cheaply, but as a fun discipline that uses your skills and pleases the sponsors.
Right, we're going to head down to semi-final number 1 and do battle for those places. It's the same for the pro drivers as it is for the esports drivers. The top 2 from each of the semi-finals go through. So semi-final number 1, your top qualifier, Tom Blomqvist, won 2 of the 4 qualifying sessions earlier on today to sit in that TQ spot and take the pole in semi-1. Then it's Sivert Svardal, Jonathan Payet, Rokas Baciuska, and Alex Day. Svardal won a session as well. Svardal, I think it was, that won Q1. It was. Blomqvist 3 and 4. Timmy Hansen won Q2, and of course we'll see him in the second semi-final. Blomqvist, the winner last time out in Norway. He also managed to beat Shane van Gisbergen in Abu Dhabi. He was the only driver to beat him there, so he really is one of the favourites. On the inside, and real world rallycross, we have a staggered grid for the semi-finals. Here in esports, we've got a line grid, and that makes it quite hard work for Blomqvist on the inside. No breathing space at all. He's got to get a perfect start, and he's got to hold off. Those drivers behind him will be hungry to take the lead. Remember, the top 2 go through, and the fastest loser from the 2 semis. Brilliant start on the outside. Again, I wonder if there was a glitch there with the 2 drivers who got away so quickly. It's fail race has gone joker lap now, and in behind him goes Payet and Baciuska. Baciuska pushing Payet wide, almost into the wall on the inside. And then slotting in Sivert Svardal, who hasn't jokered, was left at the line there, slotted into 4th place. But it's Tom Blomqvist who's out front. Baciuska over the grass on the inside. Baciuska's gone over the grass. I think he's taken out with him. He's certainly run somebody off wide. It's Alex Day. Fail race has been run off wide by Baciuska. So the stewards might have a look at that. That was up in the velodrome. Baciuska trying to come around the outside now of Payet. Going to have a look back up, see if we can find the traction down towards the first corner. But most importantly of all, oh, look at that. Taking out poles down the outside. Baciuska's trying really hard here. Looks up the inside again and can't quite make it work. But look at the gap, Neil, that Tom Blomqvist has got.
All of this squabbling has played into Tom's hands here. I mean, he's quick anyway, and he's quite likely to go off like a rocket. But this the fighting between Baciuska, I mean, it looked like he accidentally or sort of assertively took fail race out anyway, but now he's trying to make his way through Jonathan Payet and Sivert Svardal, and it's not going to be easy. He's got to try and collect his head and sort of get rid of the red mist that seemed to descend in lap 1 and 2.
You can see Baciuska's rig in the bottom right of your screen there, and you can see he's actually using a proper hydraulic handbrake to the right-hand side closest to you in the picture, which he used to just get the car to turn in. Let's watch and see. There he uses it again on the way into the right-hander. You might even see him use it on the way into velodrome here. Watch, there it is, a little nip on the way in, and that just rotates the back of the car. In a real car, disengaging the diff, locking up the back wheels, just giving it a bit of rotation, and then assisting the car on turning. So Baciuska is in full-on race mode here. 3 screens up, proper sim rig, and we'll be seeing him in the World Rallycross Championship later this year. Blomqvist leads by 3.3 seconds, Neil. He's going to be completely unchallenged here, but it's about whether or not Svardal can make enough of a gap. Can he find enough of a gap here to hold on to P2?
Yeah, because he's got Jonathan Payet coming in close behind him, and Payet's, of course, jokered and has clear air as he hunts down Svardal. But Tom Blomqvist, you know, this will be a circuit that will be in his DNA, because his dad, Stig Blomqvist, would have raced here, the original Stig, the ex-World Rally champion as well. And he's absolutely flying, and it's a perfect opportunity to just show how quick he can go with those hundreds of hours of practice laps I've been watching him do on Twitch.
Svardal has managed to put the gap up to 1.2 seconds. So Sivert Svardal has not given up the fight. He hasn't jokered. He's got to do that joke up. It's up to 1.3. Tom Blomqvist runs a wheel up the barrier on the outside. But this is about Sivert Svardal. Here he is. So look, he's now, what is he? He's 1.4 up the road. He's taken a 10th a sector of Jonathan Payet since about a lap and a half ago. And Jonathan Payet is no slouch at sim racing, or indeed real-life rallycross. Sivert Svardal right at the front of some of our European support categories. Going to go joker lap now, so watch for Svardal. You're looking for the joker with Jonathan Payet. This for a spot in the final. Into the joker lap. Got to get it in close. Oh, it's a little bit wide. Going to have to be late on the throttle. Payet coming in hot, but Svardal holds on. That is an epic performance, Neil.
Yeah, that's chapeau to Svardal. He really, really had to deliver that, and it's a risk. You always know how dramatic that joker merge can be. He fully committed, and he's the reward is coming out in front, and now Paillet's just got to hope that his
Blomqvist
time
coming round to
overall is
take the semi-final, going to take the win in semi-1. Blomqvist crosses the line to book a slot in the final on pole. Sievert Svardal fought like mad for P2. Jonathan Paillet, was that him tapping the wall, or was it on board with Bachuska? So Paillet's time is a 3:45.8. So Paillet a 3:45. The reason we need to keep an eye on that is that the fastest loser will go through. So that is Jonathan Paillet in third place in this one. But Tom Blomqvist, an absolutely emphatic win after a bit of carnage in the first couple of corners. Blomqvist just checked out. Svardal's the one for me, though, Neil. I can't believe how hard he put. Well, okay, we're going to get straight onto semi-final number 2 and find out who's going through to the final with those guys. Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen, the World Rallycross champion and the P3 man from last year's World Rallycross Championship, his younger brother, competing in the very cars in which they compete in the World Rallycross Championship. You can too with Dirt Rally 2.0 from Codemasters. Brilliant game. Henrik Krogstad is in fact their junior driver, driving for Yellow Squad, which is the team they've set up to support young drivers coming through. Then Hayden Padden and Fabien Paillet. Hayden Padden, a factory-level driver from the WRC, and Fabien Paillet, one of our best rallycross drivers from France. So these guys all top-level competitors in four-wheel drive machinery. Krogstad coming from RX2, which is the support category in the World Rallycross Championship. You'll be able to watch it soon, and it'll be starting from here, Hollius in Sweden. Don't miss it. I promise, if you've never seen it before, it's well worth tuning into. Here we go. Great start by Krogstad in the middle, but Timmy Hansen on the inside as well. Hansen going to get to the first corner first. Where's Krogstad with Kevin Hansen behind 2? Bit of contact between them. Oh, he gets a nudge. Timmy Hansen runs wide. Kevin Hansen up the inside, been passed there by Paillet as well. Krogstad's off in the boonies on the left-hand side. He's off through the grass and in the wall. Timmy Hansen coming up over the crest. Hayden Padden is in behind him. So Timmy Hansen got a great start, but I don't know if he got nudged on the way into the first corner. Kevin Hansen is leading from Fabien Paillet.
Yeah, there was a lot of chaos. I mean, turn 1 is famously chaotic in most rallycross races, but that was relatively clean. But the person who came off worst, Timmy Hansen. It looked like there was a moment where Kevin Hansen's car body language was slightly protecting his brother's car, but then he couldn't do enough, and Timmy did slightly get nudged.
Right, so Timmy Hansen in third place, desperate to find a way past Fabien Paillet. Fabien's made it through to the semis, but he was in P10. Timmy was up in P2, I think. So Timmy definitely quicker up the inside into Velodrome. Typical World Championship style move up the inside by Timmy Hansen. We've seen him do that before in real life. He makes the pass on Paillet. A little bit of contact. For me, the pass was good, but it was aggressive. Now he's going to chase his brother down. Neil, he needed that second place. In P3, there are no guarantees. And for me, with him being mugged in turn 1, he may have lost time already. So he needed to guarantee second place and not try and rely on third place and potentially losing out by a couple of tenths of a second.
Historically, I'd say Timmy Hansen is one of the best on-track overtakers I've ever seen in rallycross. When he needs to, he pulls it out of the bag. And while Fabien Paillet might feel that he lent on him a little bit too hard, I think that was a fair rallycross move, and it just shows how good Timmy Hansen is and how opportunistic and in tune. His kind of his senses of what works in rallycross is just sort of died in the wall.
Yeah, that was a hard pass, and Timmy is known for hard passes. Let's not beat around the bush for that. He is known for hard passes. He made a hard pass to win the World Championship down in Cape Town at the end of last year. Andreas Backer, who came second in the championship, wasn't over the moon about it. Timmy comes out of the Joker lap in second place. Kevin Hansen still to Joker, but 1.7 should be enough to see him beat his brother in the semi-final. But you've got to make those passes, Neil. You know, the thing is, when someone says, oh, he's a hard passer, but so is everybody else. You can't tell me that most of these guys wouldn't make that hard pass given the choice. They run a very fine line between getting called to the steward's office or not on a pretty regular basis. And that's why the sport's great, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's the old phrase, isn't it? If you don't go for a gap, then you're no longer a racing driver.
Kevin into the Joker lap, going to try and come out in front of Timmy Hansen. Going to hold on. Timmy was closer than I thought, though.
Still a second between them, which is comfortable. There was never going to be contact, but luckily it's not time-based. Of course, once you get to the semis, it's all about position. A part of place.
Kevin down into the right-hander just before the jump.
Could be an upset on the cards, though. Fabien Paillet is not going to make it through to the final. And could Hayden Padden? Is Hayden quick enough?
Kevin Hansen going to take this one. I think he's got just a little bit of a lap to go. Well, Timmy made a mistake in the background. Mistake by Timmy Hansen. You saw him run across the curb on the inside of turn 2. Just a little issue for him. He's going to be further off the back. It doesn't matter because he's guaranteed a spot in second place. But Hayden Padden, what's the time? It's got to be 3:45.8. Kevin Hansen going to take semi-final number 2 to go through to what I think is going to be an epic fight for the win at Hollis. It's the one they all want to win in real life. Kevin Hansen crosses the line. His brother Timmy Hansen's in the final 2. Hayden Padden will have to check his time to see whether or not it's quick enough. Hayden is a 3:48. It's not. So it's going to be Jonathan Paye that goes through to the final from semi-final number 1. And then we've got Kevin Hansen and Timmy Hansen going through from semi-final number 2. So we've had a message come through from Hollius that Clara Anderson won her semi-final in the Swedish Junior Rallycross Championship in real life. She then jumped straight in the sim to do the esports semi-final with us, which you saw just a minute ago. And the Swedish event organisers are holding her final in real life so she can take part in esports. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's amazing. It's the way. It's good when the real world and esports can work together. That's very, very good.
Amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Okay,
Brothers,
so a
then.
5-second penalty for Rokas Bachuska as well for contact with Alex Day. Yeah, fair enough. I think the move, Neil, there was a slight, although we didn't see the move from the outside, the stewards basically can actually replay. So in real life, these cars all carry an onboard camera, which the stewards can insist on seeing, and it must show the whole of the front view of the car basically from in the car. So you can see, did he deliberately steer into him, that kind of thing. And we can do the same here. So we can actually play back their race from on board and look and see what they did. So they've done that with Bachuska, and they felt that in Velodrome, where you saw Hansen make what we thought was a firm but a hard but a rallycross pass, very different to F1. Remember, we're not ripping wheels off here, but they felt that Bachuska would run Alex Day off course. So Alex Day, fail race, has been vindicated a bit there by a 5-second penalty for Bachuska, but he'd rather be in the final, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I love watching Rokas Bachuska drive. And in the real racing last year, he was so impressive, sort of race after race after race. You realize, oh, this isn't a fluke. This kid's good. And in the esports series, he's got his elbows out a lot, which is good to see. But if it gets penalized, then you realize you might have to rein the elbows in a little bit.
He was epic at Loiac last year, absolutely epic. The French event, which sadly isn't on the calendar this year due to COVID, but he was absolutely brilliant, and really looking forward to seeing what he can do with GCK. Great stuff. Right, I'm thinking we're just about ready to go finals racing with the esports guys.
Should we watch some replays first?
Replays,
Cody?
yeah, fine, yeah, good idea. Let's do that.
Okay.
So this is from our semi-finals. And that was the slightly strange start on the outside. So watching for Alex Day. Alex Day is in the blue, white and yellow Audi that's just gone into the joke lap. Rokas Bachuska here, leaning on Paye. That's fine. That's fair. It's up in the velodrome, next couple of corners. So you'll see a long left-hander. Watch and see if we can see what happens. I don't know if we're going to. So here, there, straight across the grass and into the side of Alex Day. And that's why he was given a 5-second penalty. He cut the track and then caused an impact with another driver. Kevin Hansen there, leaning on Henrik Krogstad, the driver who's driving in his yellow squad team. Did he lean on Timmy, though? That's the question, Neil. Neil's not sure. There we go. Thanks, Neil. So this was the pass which was on, and you can see, I think, the difference there. Although Fabian Paye ended up leaving the track, you can see a difference in the way in which Timmy Hansen leaned on Fabian Paye compared to the way in which Rokas maybe was slightly aggressive. Now, we must add that I think Rokas will probably wind it in a bit when he gets back to real life. And I think it's fair to say that sim racers are quite good at giving each other a bit of space. And I think it's probably our real life drivers are maybe a bit borderline, Neil, in terms of contact. You feel free to say, if you're not sure.
I was fully prepared to commit, and then I was just reading something on the race control chat, which completely threw me. I'm like, I'm not going to have an opinion because I'll probably get it wrong.
So don't worry, it's fine. It's a staple of my career has been getting it wrong. We're ready to go finals racing. Here we go. Okay, Quinton Dall'Olmo on the pole from Killian Dall'Olmo. We've then got Lucas Mateja, Daniel Johansson, and John Harris in this one. So certainly the three on the left, I think, have been in all our events, including the invitationals at the start of the season. And then we got Daniel Johansson and John Harris to get in the mix as well. So we should be good to go pretty soon. Killian Dall'Olmo. Where was Killian? Killian won last time. and was third in Abu Dhabi. Quinton Del Olmo, his brother, won in Abu Dhabi and was second last time. Lucas Matejka was second in Abu Dhabi. So you can see John Harris was third in Norway. And then you had Quinton winning in Portugal. And Killian coming second back in Barcelona. They were the invitationals. And my goodness me, it's raining for the final. So the game has chucked in a bit of an ace card against the pro sim racers. It's pouring with rain at Holliers. The grip levels will be completely different. You can expect a tiny bit of contact to end in quite a lot of carnage. You're behind Lucas Matejka. To his right are the Del Olmo brothers. We're waiting for the ready to race light. There it is. Look for the green. Oh, it's a bad start by Matejka and by Del Olmo as well. So Quinton Del Olmo on the inside trying to get in front of Johansson. But I think it might be... it's possible to tell from this angle. Matejka down in P5 has dropped back, and Killian Del Olmo's gone Joker with him. So those guys have gone Joker really early. Quinton Del Olmo went Joker too. It's John Harris leading from Daniel Johansson. So it must have been Harris that we couldn't quite see in the distance. There he is. So the red-coloured Peugeot 208 is John Harris out front from Daniel Johansson. But look at the times down the right-hand side. 1.5 seconds from P1 to P5. And the three guys at the back have all Jokered already.
Yeah, this is going to be super close. This is just going to really bunch up whenever we see John Harris and Daniel Johansson actually choose to do their joke, and they may need to leave it a while.
Oh, contact there between your hands. We're trying to make a pass on the inside. The setting for driver pass the road jump to take him to second. Almost making his way up into second place.
Wow, so John Harris leading this, but he is going to have wing mirrors absolutely full of two Del Olmos very soon. If he can see anything through the spray of rain coming off these cars through a very, very wet Hurlius rallycross circuit.
John Harris under a lot of pressure now from Killian Del Olmo and Quinton Del Olmo. Apologies for any audio issues from my side. What's the gap back between them? Harris has gone Joker. Del Olmo over the jump has gone into the lead. The Set Esports driver takes the lead in the final here, halfway through. Again, he's just managed to find a way through. The start didn't go his way, and somehow the Dirt Rally 2.0 world champion has made it. And Quinton Del Olmo is having a look at John Harris as well. Harris will defend into the right-hander. Quinton Del Olmo, though, undercuts him, going to try and get him on the brakes into the hairpin. John Harris leans on him. Del Olmo, though, going around the outside and will have the inside for turn one. So Quinton Del Olmo slotting into P2 behind his brother. Epic performance by the French brothers.
Yeah, and that was one of those moments where you get a beautiful photograph that goes down through motorsport history of an overtake happening while both cars are mid-air over that classic Hurlius jump. And once again, the form of these two French Del Olmo brothers just coming to the fore. That just reeled in John Harris over the course of about 7 or 8 corners and then pulled off the perfect overtake.
Harris pushing really hard, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything about that. Del Olmo's in front, working their way through the field so effectively. Neil, much less sideways in these wet conditions.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? I'd like to see how much time they got to change setups, or if they were allowed their own wet setup, because of course they're massively different to the ride height and the amount of gearing, etc., that they would put into their setups that they load in. So they're allowed to make their own changes. So they've taken a standard wet setup for this. To adapt to that is very impressive.
John Harris through the right-hander, still unable to do anything about Quinton Del Olmo in front, and Killian Del Olmo just edging away from them. Brilliant performance by these two. They took a 1-2 last time out. And it looks like they're going to do it again. Oh, a little problem there for, that was a problem for John Harris, in fact. So as Harris lost a position. No, just still right behind Quinton Del Olmo. My bad, looked away for a second, and there's a mistake again. Just taps that piece of arc on the outside. If you've played the game, you'll know that it's critical. If you have to lift there because you've run wide, it's a bit of a disaster. But no disasters for this man. Killian Del Olmo going to come around the left-hander at Hurlius to take his second win in a row. He wins in Hell and in Sweden. His brother Quinton Del Olmo crosses the line in P2. John Harris third. You're with Daniel Johansson, who takes fourth. And Lucas Matejka, I think, must have a problem because he's a long way back. Looks like a puncture. Front right's gone down, you can see. So the front right tyre is off Matejka's car. And with 10 seconds to go on the clock, I don't think he'll make it to the flag. He's going to try down the hill, through the left-hander. Oh, cuts the inside. Definitely not going to make it. It's a shame for Lucas.
It's
But a brilliant
though,
win then for Killian Del Olmo. 347.7. Quinton Del Olmo takes P2 and John Harris in P3. Okay, we're ready for the final for our pro drivers. On the pole, Tom Blomqvist, the winner last time in Norway. Next to him is Kevin Hansen, who didn't make the final last time, if I remember correctly. Sivert Svardal looking for a first podium. Brilliant performer so far this weekend. Timmy Hansen looking for a third podium. He's been on the podium at every race so far. Jonathan Paillet on the outside. Do not count him out. He's proved to be a weapon all day today.
I'm sure Fabien Paillet will be disappointed to not sort of make it a full house of brothers in the finals. It's a real shame for him. So close as well. Just came down to count back as to whether he made it into the semis or not. And now Jonathan is in the final. And this is going to be exciting. What a lineup.
Blomqvist untouchable. We're not sure that is pacing. We're not sure any of these guys pace in the wet.
Yeah, it's untested. All of the qualifying and the semis were all in dry sunshine. So this could be carnage into turn one.
Ready to race light comes on for the final. Behind Sivert Svardal. Svardal drops him back. Good job by Hansen. People are going to fight that across towards the inside. Kevin Hansen, carnage between them. Jonathan Paillet all the way around the outside, straight into the Joker lap. Jonathan Paillet, Tom Blomqvist has gone with him, but absolute carnage on the standard lap between the four cars. Paillet now's dropped back from the Joker, so he came across Timmy Hansen and Sivert Svardal when he came in from the merge on the standard lap. Timmy Hansen leading this one from Sivert Svardal. Neil, they've got to try and check out now because Paillet has jokered already.
Yeah, so Paillet's the threat here, but don't forget, so is Tom Blomqvist. I mean, he lost time and a tactical first lap joker to try and stay out of trouble, but he is the quickest. Factually, Tom Blomqvist is the quickest around the circuit in the dry. Can he do it in the wet and come back from the back of the pack?
You're on board with Sivert Svardal looking back at Jonathan Paillet, the first of the drivers who has joked, and Paillet's not losing any time to these guys. What will be interesting is what's the difference between the Joker and the standard lap in these wet conditions. Timmy Hansen, you can see fantastic graphics. This game literally looks like real life. The water pouring off the Cooper tyres on the back of Hansen's World Championship winning machine. Sivert Svardal won the European Touring Car Championship and then was excluded for a tiny technical infringement. So he's a very good driver in real life, but he has proved to be an exceptional sim driver today. Jonathan Paillet applying the pressure. Svardal goes Joker. Svardal's gone into the Joker lap now, runs the car a little bit wide. Going to try and bring it towards the curb. He's dropped a place. So Jonathan Paillet has made it past Sivert Svardal, and now it's Hansen versus Paillet with 3 laps to go.
Also, we need to see what's happened to Tom Blomqvist because he is not gaining any time at all. He's 5 seconds back, half a second behind Kevin Hansen. And I'm not sure if he's got a problem or if he's just finding it hard to make up any time because everyone ahead of him is good.
1.2 seconds gap between Paillet and Hansen in the same now for a couple of seconds time.
As things stand, Timmy Hansen would be able to joker and come out ahead of Jonathan Paillet.
Blomqvist at the back of the pack, then unable to capitalise on that TQ. He's behind Kevin Hansen. Timmy going around the outside here. Svardal's got in front of Timmy Hansen here and Jonathan Paillet. So Hansen went Joker and has lost out, has dropped down the order. Jonathan Paillet leading with 2 laps to go. Hansen having a look up the inside of Svardal, nudges him wide, bit of contact there, or you can see the inputs. He's leaned on him all the way down to the next corner. Svardal going back through. Timmy Hansen's going backwards. Kevin Hansen trying to come around the outside of him here. It's absolute carnage from Timmy. Somehow he's back inside. 3 cars off. 3 cars off at the jump. Timmy Hansen leading. Tom Blomqvist up from P5 to P2. Hansen's in the barrier. Timmy Hansen's in the wall, has to take reverse. That's an absolute disaster for the World Rallycross Champion. His brother stopped too. Sivert Svardal as well as off backwards there. Carnage on the 5th lap of the final here from Holliers. Jonathan Paillet is 4.7 seconds down the road from Tom Blomqvist with a lap to go.
Yeah, the dynamic weather has certainly thrown the cat among the pigeons here, and it's caused absolute chaos. And This played into the hands of Paye on his debut, and Blomqvist, who could easily take the lead in the championship. Extraordinary.
So you're looking at Jonathan Paye, who made his esports World RX debut today, but he has been a long-time esports competitor online. And Jonathan Paye here with a bit of carnage when Timmy Hansen took his joker, has done an absolutely brilliant job up and over the jump. The Frenchman comes around the long left-handed hairpin at Hollius, and he takes a very welcome win. Unexpected, I think, for many, but Jonathan Paye has done a brilliant job, in a threat all day. Tom Blomqvist from 5th to 2nd. Timmy Hansen holds on to 3rd. Kevin gets 4th, and Svardal in 5th. That was carnage.
Well, there are
so
penalties.
Two 10-second penalties. Yeah. So that must be in-game penalties. Both of those have dropped down, but it doesn't affect Jonathan Paye. Brilliant win for the Frenchman here at Hollius. Great job by him. I could do with seeing some replays of exactly what happened with Timmy Hansen in the Joker, but we'll figure that out in a second. Apologies if there are some audio issues for me there. Working very hard from home, doing our best for you guys. And it's not quite the same as being at a studio, so apologies for that. And we'll have a look back at the final in a minute and hopefully try and figure out just exactly what happened.
But yeah, the weather certainly made things very interesting for both those finals. You know, you put in all your practice, and when we spoke to Tom Blomqvist last week, you don't really choose to do wet laps if you can help it. It's like doing leg day in the gym. You know, it's like the thing you don't want to do. But if you put in the practice with wet, then it pays off, and it looks like Jonathan Paye probably did.
Yeah, I say I'm keen to see what happened in the middle of that race, because something happened. If I was looking at notes, if we were looking at a different driver, but Timmy suddenly was in the midst of a lot of action, and it didn't stop there. On the next lap, even over the jump, you saw the 3 cars. It was a mistake, I think, into turn 1, and over the jump, the 3 cars were together. Then again in the left and the right, Hansen got caught on the end of the barrier in the right-hander just before the velodrome turn. So we've got a replay, so we're going to be able to take a look at some replays and just see if we can figure out just what happened. Let's have a look. So this is Timmy Hansen in P3 behind Svardal.
So that's after the Joker.
Yeah, that was kind of hoping to see what happened.
What just happened before that.
Yeah, when he took the Joker. But, I mean, this is still a great replay. Look at the contact all the way down here. This is the big carnage moment from lap 5. He's now in the gravel trap, cuts the corner, hits his brother Kevin, somehow finds traction. I think he's bounced off Kevin. You see the cars go off track and then get automatically reset. Svardal is automatically reset to the back of the pack because he left the track. Timmy then leaves the track and ends up on the barrier, has to pull back on. You can see Kevin's gone by, but Kevin then and Svardal have ended up off to the side of the track again. So there must have been contact between those two. So that was the lap 5 incident. And it was just before that Timmy had taken the Joker and fell back into the clutches of everybody else. So Jonathan Paye with, was it an early Joker, Neil? Oh, my brain's hurting after 2.5 hours of commentating Rallycross in one hit. It just worked out perfectly for the Frenchman.
Yeah, absolutely perfectly. And, on his debut in the World Rallycross Esports Series, he's certainly come straight to the top. And when we see the standings, we'll be able to see how he compares to those who've been in it from the very beginning, because this is, of course, round 3 with only 1 round left to go. Yeah,
we're heading to Cape Town for the final round, which will be on July the 12th. So if you've been following World RX's social media channels, you'll know that it was originally a week later on the 19th. We've actually moved it a week forward so that we can secure some of our top drivers, because with real-life motorsport starting off again, what we're finding is increasingly, people like Charles Leclerc apparently have got to go and drive Ferrari's F1 simulator instead of come and play Dirt Rally 2.0. Shane Van Gisbergen apparently has to race a V8 in Australian V8s in real life, or a supercar at least. Understandably, some of our top drivers are not available. So the final round from Cape Town, which is, of course, where the final round is normally from for the World Rallycross Championship, certainly the last couple of years, has been moved from July the 19th to July the 12th. So if you'd like to join us for that, you'll be able to see the conclusion of what's been, I think, a pretty exciting esports championship. We've had 6 events, or we would have had by the end of the year, 2 invitationals, and then the 4 rounds of the esports series. We hope you guys have enjoyed it at home, and obviously get in touch on social media and let us know if you'd like to do it again, maybe in the winter. We think we might be a bit busy in the coming months with real Rallycross and the real World Rallycross Championship, which we are all desperate to get back to. So fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, of course, we're in Hollius for this event today, and that's where the championship should start in August when we go racing for real, which will be exciting to be out in those Swedish forests once again.
Timo Scheider has just messaged me again about his online betting agency. He thinks he's won. Timo always sends me stuff with bets and things and so on online during the show. And then he did say he was enjoying the show. He's got a very nice view behind his laptop, Neil, a much better view than I've got. So that's good.
But if he's got a betting agency, should the house always win? So he's
good point.
Trumps, whatever happens.
Well, that's why he's got a great view. If the house wins, it's definitely a winning house. So Timo, thanks for watching, mate. Sorry you're not taking part. Looking forward to seeing you at the track soon, along with all the rest of the drivers in the World Rallycross Championship.
So
we've got a few minutes left to go. Go on, Neil. What you think?
If there's anyone in the virtual stewards room at the moment, I wonder if there's any a chat going on about that chaotic last race.
Looking through the various different social media channels we've got. But also, we have a WhatsApp group with Race Control. If you're wondering why we're both looking down, being terribly rude, like your friends in the pub, which isn't open yet, on their phone all night, it's because that's how we're getting our information sent through to us, as well as through our ears. Let's take a quick look at Twitter. A couple of you pleased to see the dog earlier on. If you missed the dog, he was online. You'll have to go and find that on YouTube. He had absolutely nothing useful to say about Rallycross. Some people would say the same of me and Neil. That's fine. We're saying crazy weather giving Jonathan Paye a final lap procession. Yeah, I'd agree with that. We're going to try and have a catch up with Jonathan Paye. So Jonathan is French, and I don't speak brilliant French. Luckily, Neil does. But we're going to ask him the questions in English, and then Neil will be able to translate if Jonathan would prefer to answer in French. So that will be cool. We're going to see if we can hook up. There he is. Jonathan Paye is in the middle of the screen. Jonathan, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Congratulations on the win from Hollius. That's amazing.
Yes, I think because it's I wasn't looking the top corner. I let the car pass. I go to the Joker, and after I have the pace, and I only driving.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Neil, go ahead. What you've got a question for Jonathan. We've got some audio issues, but we're working on it.
Yeah, we apologise for the audio quality, Jonathan. How much practice have you been putting in at Hollius? How many hours, how many laps would you say?
Not a lot, about maybe 4 hours, but we always do some racing with Fabien. Fabien isn't trading a lot for the past. I'm a bit lucky to have time to train more than Fabien.
Jonathan, I don't think there's too much luck about it. Yeah, I think it's mostly skill, mate. So very well done on a brilliant win from Hollius, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the paddock in real life soon.
Chapeau.
So Jonathan Paye with the win in Sweden. Yeah, apologies for the audio again. Everybody's working from home, guys. He's on his phone at home, and we're doing our best to bring it to you. So Jonathan, we're so grateful for you joining us. His brother Fabien Paye as well. Everybody who came along and joined us in the racing today, and indeed in the rest of the series. Neil, I think another good event. Hollius is such a cracking circuit, and it does show, you overtake in similar places in Hollius as you do on the game as you do in real life. Certainly, the passes from Timmy Hansen up into the Velodrome were a great example of that.
Yes, the circuit itself is so beautifully rendered in the game that it does lend itself to exactly the same positions for overtakes and stuff. I thought very gracious there of Jonathan to sort of say he's been lucky enough to put in more time in practice on Dirt Rally 2.0, more than his brother Fabien, who just missed out. So it's very gracious for an event winner to kind of take the moment to sort of say that is very sweet indeed. And that's obviously good for the family values.
Yeah, fantastic. Good job by him. I think in terms of championship standings, I don't know if we're going to be able to see those or not. Race Control might be able to let us know in my ears if we can see championship standings and try and get an idea of where we are going into the last round. So we've got one round left to go. Points in the World Rallycross Championship are similar to esports based, well, they're the same. So you get 16 points if you take the top qualifier spot, and then 15, 14, 13, and so on down. You take 6 points, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the semi-finals, and then 8 points for the win, 5 for second. So we're going to take a look at the standings with one round left to go. Okay, that's the standings after Q4. So we'll have some other standings for you in just a moment, and we'll give you the championship totals.
Was top qualifier.
Oh, There we go. So Timmy Hansen actually has a commanding lead to the World Rallycross champion, looking to take the first ever World RX Esports Series title as well. That would be a good defense to his World Championship title in lieu of being able to defend it in real life, which we're hoping he's going to do later on this year. Tom Blomqvist second, Kevin Hansen third. Very close between them. Shane van Gisbergen is not out of the fight for P2 in this championship. If we can get him to come and join us, then it's Krogstad, Bachuska, Fail Race and Martin Enlund. Neil, a great weekend's racing again. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's been really good fun and good to see some interesting racing, especially between the guys that have been battling behind and with Shane van Gisbergen for the last few weeks. You know, with the absence of the gears, they've really been able to kind of rise up the leaderboard as we just saw. So all to play for in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, so the final round of the World RX Esports Series will be on July the 12th. It's going to be coming from Cape Town, the fantastic circuit down there. We've seen some brilliant racing, particularly last year. Go and look it up on YouTube. So my thanks to all the drivers, to Neil Cole for joining us, and for you guys for watching at home. We hope you'll join us for the last round in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, stay safe, take care.